The streets will never love you back. The streets will never love you back. Pow. What's up, guys? Let me just get this in order. I want to thank William Haynes for the $20. Appreciate it. Very kind of you. Today I'm going to have my brother John on, and we're going to go back and forth. He's going to throw a couple questions at me. I'll answer them. I figure, you know what? Let me do it on my channel. I want to start blowing my channel up instead of blowing other people's channels up. And Boston J, thanks for showing up, my moderator. I see Joe Antonora in the chat. Steven Sanchez, yo mama, what's up, baby? How's everything? New York Dad, what's up, New York Dad? Anthony Santoro, Gigi, Big G. All right, let me put my brother on. I got him over here waiting in the back. There he goes.
What's up, Jim?
What's up, John? Let me here you go. Shines, thank you for the $10. Very kind of you, very kind of you. So today I got my brother on. John, introduce yourself a little. Tell me a little about you. Me and my brother are basically, we were opposites growing up. I don't know. Give him an idea.
Well, me and Jimmy were considered night and day growing up.
Go a little closer to the mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Me and Jimmy were considered a little night and day growing up. And I'm going to be honest with you. After a while, my philosophy became based on the activity of the avenue. So everything that was bad going on, my philosophy became I wanted to be the completely opposite. I didn't like none of it, and it's very easy to get caught up, especially when you're on an avenue that is comprised of organized crime. So, what I'm looking to do today is I want to ask you some random questions. And I want people to get to know a little of that information that lies in between the adolescence and the underworld. So, let's get started. But before we get started, I want to read something.
Go for it.
Okay, this is a verse from 1 John 4:20. And it says, if a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he's a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how could he love God whom he hath not seen? So we'll start off the questionnaire with that. Try to make it a little more prosperous.
Amen. There you go.
This. All right. So
yeah, guys. So just just bear with us, and we're gonna have some fun with this. We're just warming up, and we're not gonna take this so seriously. It's just basically, look, growing up on Bath Avenue, there was a lot of memories. I have a lot of good memories. I have a lot of bad memories. There's bad memories. I could talk about those bad memories. And as a kid, some of these guys were really good guys. They treated me good, but a lot of them weren't good. There's good and bad in everything. But anyway, let's get to the questions, and we'll have some fun with this.
Well, I mean, just to touch on that subject alone, there were people got to understand, like, when you're living by a code, your kindness comes in small moments, and to strangers, they don't really care. It's the truth. Now, more on that subject, people would say, the kids thrived on it. How could someone try to victimize themselves when they thrived on it? Well, you know what? When you're like 30 years old and a kid is like 14 years old, you tell me who the victim is. Now we'll start the questionnaire.
But I want to, William Hines, Chicago. One day I'm going to walk in your bar. I'm going to have a drink with you, okay? Just to let you know.
All right, so let's
this.
begin. So these are some random questions. I had reached out to a list of people. They had helped me out. Some of these people had seen you on the internet. And from a curiosity point of view, here it is. So let's begin with the first one. How much time did you serve in prison, and what prisons?
Well, that's a good one. My first bid, and let's just let everybody know that I didn't, we didn't talk about these questions.
No, this is randomly. I haven't spoken to Jimmy in a while. This was just touched on at the pinpoint of within the moment, and I reached out to people within the past 2 days. Jimmy has no idea what he is.
So let's let's go to that. So we could start from when we got picked up, me, John Polio, Albert Slavin, and Tommy Reynolds for the stolen car. That was a little in and out. I did 3 months in Rikers Island. From there to Bill Hill. That was a couple months. Then I went home. Then from there, I got a 4 to 8 that ran concurrent with a 5-year bid with the Fed.
What? It's a loud ice cream truck.
Yeah. So I got the 4 to 8 on top of the 57 months with the feds. Okay. I got, after the feds, I went to the state. They hit me with the parole board, 18 months. So I did I CR'd on that 4 to 8. I did a CR. So over 6. I came home, and then I caught the case with the indictment with the Bath Avenue crew with Spero Giovanetti, Fabrizio, and that with my cooperation, I got 8 years. So I got a total of maybe 14 years, a little more than 14 years of my life in prison. I went to Bear Hill. I was in Clinton, Denamora, Rikers Island, Lewisburg Penitentiary, McKean, maybe another 1 or 2 spots, state spots. But yeah, a little bit.
MCC.
I was in MCC New York. I was in MCC Brooklyn. So I did a little time.
And the reason I remember you being in MCC is because at one point Jimmy wanted me to sneak him in sneakers.
Yeah, Mommy did.
He's a half size smaller than me. So I remember the whole ride there, my feet were killing me. And then by the time I got at MCC, the guards had refused Jimmy the right to see me.
Yeah, mommy ended up walking them in for me,
All right.
MCC. But that was
We're getting a little
1993.
annoying over there, Mr. Frosty.
Yeah, that was 1993. That's all right. That's uh that's funny. My brother-in-law owns ice cream trucks here in our neighborhood, William Hines.
So, okay. All right. So now we know that. Um, Another question. During your time, while you were serving it at any particular times, say like the first time you did time in prison, did you feel you were being institutionalized, or did you, by the time you got out?
Uh, when you're doing big time, you do get institutionalized. I mean, because they institutionalize you. Oh, look, my friend Mo. Nice, Mo. It's good to see you. Mo, call me, Mo. Call me. I called you today. Call me. I love you. Thank you. Very kind of you, Mo. Thank you. So, getting institutionalized, when you're doing a lot of time, you get institutionalized because when you go away to prison, you are programmed. I'm saying you program. You wake up in the morning, uh, you set your day. You usually work out, go to breakfast, then you go do a workout, walk the track, or maybe you got a workout buddy, you meet him, and you program. You know what I mean? Then you go back, you take a shower. I'm saying then lunchtime's coming up. You go back to the yard, hang out, maybe play some handball, whatever it is, or going to the law library, looking up a case. There's a lot of things to do in prison when you're in jail. I'm saying because you got to keep yourself occupied, and being outside, there's a lot going on out here. When you're inside, your mind is focused on other things. It's idle. I'm saying an idle mind is a devil's playground. So but
Did,
prison.
did, did you ever feel your time away, with the thought of just when I get out, I want to go legit. I don't want to be involved anymore. Anything?
you know I always felt that way. So especially after I did my 57 months and my 4 to 8 in the state. There was times when I was in Lewisburg, there was a lot of guys that asked me if I wanted to get straightened out. Michael Perna used to tell me, he said, Jimmy, I see you becoming one of us someday. Meaning a wise guy. Old man Gatto, Manny Madonna. So there was a lot of guys. Gene Gotti told me one day, Jimmy, what are you looking to do? You're looking to get straightened out when you go home? George Zapola asked me. He said, Jimmy, when you get home, stay in touch with me. When I got home, I used to stay in touch with George Zapola. I used to write letters to him back and forth. And when I left him, he said, Jimmy, let me know where you end up. Because listen, when you're Italian in Bensonhurst and with the 5 families, you're gonna end up with one of the families. It's just basically that's just the way it is. It's like the gangs. You either become a blood, a crip, or a gang members. In the neighborhoods. But look, looking
Yeah, I
back.
mean, not many people can tell stories where they would walk out of their building and the corner was just filled with guys like this.
Exactly. Frankie the Chico, Sparrow walking up and down the block. A lot of wise guys in our neighborhood, and
And
the neighborhood.
all it takes is the littlest initiation to go get me a sandwich, receiving $5 just to get that sandwich for them.
Well, you know what? There's always something going on in the neighborhood. I mean, there was never a dull moment.
Yeah.
I'm saying, you had, the thieves in the neighborhood. You had Sal Temporino. You had Stephen Oikento. All these guys were robbing 86. And, we learned from these guys. I'm saying, so, I mean, you learn from what you have around you. So, and that's what we learned from, all these guys,
I remember seeing one of your shows talking about how Sal had walked in the class And let me tell you something. This is a fact. Probably Joey A. probably knew. Um, Milano, Nikki, sitting in the class with like 14 years old, maybe even 13, and you got like a 16-year-old coming into class. You know, it was kind of wild.
Yeah.
You know how like they would just allow that, and you know, being a truant, you know, you get to feel a little of that, and then eventually, I guess shame kicks in, and you just wind up saying to yourself, you know what, I don't want to go to school, you know, because you're not just the oldest kid in class, you're like 3 4 years older than everybody else.
Yeah, that was funny when Joey Temporino used to sit in the back of the class, you know. But he was funny too. He was comical. I'm saying he used to.
Well, you know, and that's also the thing too, is that some of these people, some of these kids, you grow up and you're best friends with them, and even if you're not best friends, they live across the street from you. You see them every day, all day, and when you know, outside, it's sometimes a different relationship than that. Now you're in school with them alone, so they're even acting a little bit different, you know, in that situation. Where outside they come off a little more, you know, cold, but now you're amongst them alone in school, and now, you know, now they're warming up to you. They're being extra friendly, you
In our,
know.
in our neighborhood, it was very hard to warm up to anybody. You had to get to know somebody, or you
Oh,
always had to have your guard up
yeah,
in our neighborhood. I'm saying because you really couldn't trust anybody. I'm saying you tell
yeah,
somebody something, then whatever you told them, it goes right back to someone else. I mean, so you had to learn who was who,
yeah,
in the neighborhood.
yeah.
You know,
Okay. Um, was there a time that you knew things were getting bad?
well, you know what? Things really started getting bad around the time when Bobby the Chico at this time, uh he didn't like me and my friends. I'm saying at first he liked us, and then you had Hamster and his friends, they came around. I'm saying so
It became competitive,
it been
and it goes to show you, it goes back to the people who say these kids, you know, they want to
well, let
victimize
me
themselves.
finish.
All right,
Let
go
me
ahead.
finish. Let me finish. Okay. It, it, I don't know about competitive. It's just for some reason, he didn't like my friends. I'm saying maybe my friends were they didn't like drugs. I mean, that was the thing. They didn't like drugs as far as selling pot and things like that. You couldn't do that because when I first got arrested with Frankie Pigeon, okay, in 17th Avenue Park for selling the weed, and Georgie Conti bailed us out with Joe the Candy, the attorney. Bobby the Chico came to the house. I don't know if you remember when he came to the door. He said, "You know what? You can't
I'm the
do
one
this."
who got Georgie's, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, you can't do this. He was saying, meaning you can't sell drugs, meaning pot.
Hmm.
I'm saying, and that's when I had the argument. When I told him, "Oh, just get out of here." I'm saying, but, me and my friends, we were basically going our own way. And look, we weren't, growing up wanting to be wise guys. We were growing up being kids, getting into mischief, and making our own path. Little Georgie Adamo at the time, he was, he might have just started to succumb to drugs. But growing up when we were kids, he was the leader of our group, because his godfather was Eddie Lino and he had Anthony Sparrow, and his father was Georgie Crowbar. People don't know also that the twins, his sisters, the other godfather was Frankie Hart, the one that got blown up with
Hmm.
Frankie the Chico. I'm saying, and then there was the other sister had Charlie LaRocca as the godfather. So Georgie Crowbar was deep into the mob. So once he passed away, Sparrow thought doing the right thing would take little George underneath his wing. I'm sure he had some kind of relationship with Georgie Crowbar, you know, And but little George Adamo, he was the leader of our crew. So I just want people to understand this, how things, changed in the course of years. And then later on when we get to Paulie G, how he became the leader. All of us were in trouble. We were outcast. I'm saying, and Paulie G stepped up, because me and Joey was in the car that shot Hamster at the time. I'm saying, so we both had to, hide out. And then Paulie G stepped up, and he's the one who spoke to Tommy Karate. I'm saying, and helped us get back to the neighborhood. Besides our own family, I'm saying Carmine Lamedosa was involved. Yeah. I'm saying a lot of people don't know. I'm saying, but they'll read about it in the book. I mean, a lot of the things that they don't know. I'm saying we don't want to feed them everything, but in the book, you will understand a lot more. I'm saying I talk about a lot of things, but there's a lot of things I leave out.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. That was good. So now,
well, let me answer this guy's question. How come Tommy K couldn't save Paulie G? Well, I'm going to tell you why he couldn't save Paulie G. First of all, he was in prison. That's number one. And at that time, nothing could have saved Paulie G. The only thing that could save Paulie G, Paulie walking away and taking off. That's about it. But you know what? That was Paulie's destiny, obviously. All our destinies was carved in stone since we were kids. Either way, we were going that route. I'm saying it was death or prison, 100%.
All right. We may touch back on that in a minute. Was there a period in your life that you maybe came to the realization that you were the bad guy?
There was times, for instance, that thing with the kid Neil Nastro, saying when we did that was so surreal. I'm saying that was something where I never really did anything like that. I'm saying so up close and personal. I'm saying when Tommy gets out, Tommy kills both of them. So that was so surreal. And then I felt like, yes, I was the bad guy. Absolutely. I'm saying, because I was like, what the hell are we doing? Look, in the beginning, you know what? Yeah, you might think it's a little fun and games, but then after a while, you wake up and you say, wow, you know what? Some of this stuff is really fucking serious, and you know what? Not called for. I mean, it could be handled other ways. But in the neighborhood, this is what, people looked up to. And the only thing people feared was violence.
You think drugs play a big part on that?
Well, at that time, there was definitely drugs involved for sure.
Not you.
No, not me.
But in general, just drugs like covering the city.
Well, at that time, everyone had beepers. So that was a time when the beepers, they just killed little Georgie Adamo. I'm saying, so it was basically an eye for an eye, and that's the reason why that happened. You know what I'm saying? And that was that could have been avoided, but it happened.
Yeah. You feel like the neighborhood was significant for a certain mentality. Even if you didn't grow up into it, did it play a significant role on changing people?
Well, the neighborhood was like a one-way street. I'm saying, if you grew up in that neighborhood, look, you have the outskirts of the neighborhood. You have legitimate people on our blocks. I'm saying, I wake up every day to go to work. I'm saying they know about the neighborhood, but they know nothing inside the streets of the neighborhood. But when you're trenched into the streets and you're hanging out in a candy store and a social club as a young kid, you get to know the people inside the neighborhood who control the neighborhood. I'm saying, so there's a different mindset inside the people that hang out inside the neighborhood. They know who the players are, and they know who the legitimate people are. I'm saying, and they know what they could get away with and what they can't get away with. So the neighborhood
So the neighborhood actually, it does change your mentality.
It changes your mentality, absolutely. It sure does, because it's also the people you put around it. I mean, listen, if you put CEO people around you, you're gonna have a different mentality. I'm saying, now if you put street people around you, you're gonna have their mentality.
So you definitely, one way or another, even if you're not robbing banks and murdering people, you do become a product of your environment. Maybe, where you start smoking a joint and, you're out, possibly maybe robbing, starts with a couple of cases of beer in a warehouse, and it leads to, bins of computers eventually.
Well, let's see. Any stories about high school or the nightclubs?
Wait,
Yeah,
Jim,
stories.
we'll touch on some of that stuff. What is your best memory as a child about school?
My best memory as a child in school. Well, you know what? I remember going to school, and I put together this science project. I was really young. I'm saying, mommy helped me.
The park?
Yeah, the park. I did this park. It was really,
It was good.
I think I
It
was in,
was good.
I think I was in second grade or something. I'm saying, and it was brilliant. It really was. You know what I'm saying, we didn't have cell phones back then. There might be a picture of it somewhere down the line. I know I got some kind of document from it, like some you know appreciation or something. But I put this park together with mommy. She detailed everything like to the T.
Yeah.
See? It's like it really came out nice. So that's one of the memories I have when I'm a child. You know, besides some friends having
That
fun.
kind of, that kind of stuff eventually down the future probably could have turned into something like architectural.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they have rough times going through school and studies and getting educated, but once you overcome all of that, everything really starts falling into place. So it is unfortunate that things can sideswipe you for the worst in life and within seconds. Because I do know there was a time you were interested in going back to school at night.
Sure.
And
there was a time
still
when
being sideswiped.
yeah, and there was a time me and Reynolds, we were trying to look, in the course of life when you're a kid, I'm saying, when you don't have no direction, we might have thought we had direction. Tommy had his mother and father. I had my mother, my father. I seen him like every other weekend or something. But we did have conversations when we were kids before all the crazy stuff went on. Before John Polio was murdered. To go back to school. I'm saying, so we did go back to school, me and Reynolds, and we going for a GED. And then at that time, we were also getting weed off of Georgie Conti. Say, so Georgie Conti sent the guy Dave and little Joey to come pick us up, me and Tommy Reynolds. And that's when, like, we got fucking drawn right back in. I'm saying? So, there's a message over here too, folks. Watch your kids, watch who they hang out with, stuff like that. Those are things that are very important, But
and
but yeah,
it is wild to point out that even there were kids in the neighborhood that were good, and a lot of people tend to think that by staying in such a neighborhood, you can remain a, you can remain like a certain pureness. But the truth is, there are plenty of families that some of my best friends, their parents couldn't handle the neighborhood. They eventually got up and moved their whole families out of the neighborhood. So here you have a working class blue collar, neighborhood where it seems like everything's, perfectly fine. And, there are the workers, and then, you have the good families. But a lot of people tend to ignore in between those lines that when it came to coming outside, if you were a kid, you had to mingle with the other kids. And if you didn't, one way or another, you either join them or you had to completely get away from them because of who they were related to and who their other friends were. So the psyche of the neighborhood was definitely there. And you don't have to use your imagination to do research and pick up on all the odds and ends and the articles that have been written already. We come from a great working class neighborhood where everyone says the neighborhood was safe. I could remember as a kid just one scenario right outside of St. Finbar where an old woman was stabbed with a screwdriver. You remember?
Yeah.
And, regardless of what it is, that may have been drugs too, and if people were part of that neighborhood, they know what I'm talking about. So every now and then, like, things flew off the hook. And as much as we want to think of it to be maintained, well, every so often it wasn't so well maintained. But if you got a guy jumping outside of a car running up to a social club and literally stabbing someone who's made, what does that tell you? It's pretty wild.
Hey, some crazy wild time. We had some crazy wild times on the avenue. At Jimmy, was there any older wise guys in the neighborhood telling you guys to stay in school or encourage you to do anything positive? You know what? There was a couple wise guys that used to tell me, we were cut out. Back then, cutting out was easy. You just stay home, you walk the streets, stuff like that. You go to your friend's house. But there was a couple guys that said, what are you doing? Why are you in school? Where, they would encourage you to go to school, But
cutting wasn't, in the beginning, cutting out was very easy. Me and Joey probably started cutting out in second grade. And after a while, the rest of the crew picks up on it and you become a truant. But I could remember, the first truant. You remember Larry?
Yeah.
Larry would roll around in the truant car.
Yeah.
Trying to pick you up. Then eventually I had vice principals and even the principal, like literally going out of their way, looking for us.
And then as you get older, they can't mess with you no more.
Well, now they can't do that, but there was a lot of physical abuse. A lot of physical abuse in 163. A lot from the teachers and principals.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely, 100%. The teachers used to hit you. They used to beat you up. Everything, of course.
All right.
Let's also, those fireworks on 4th of July in Bensonhurst was crazy back in the days. Remember going from Sunset Park up there to watch them? We had the best fireworks shows, sure.
Yeah, I remember there was a big fireworks show and everybody was lighting off fireworks, and I kept on telling Sally, like, how come you're not allowing me? She said, go ahead, go. And I took a huge mortar and I stuck it in the tube upside down.
Oh, shit.
And when it went off,
it went over the street.
It went everywhere. Sally said, John, no more for you. That's it. It's done. But I liked fires growing up. I did. I was a firebug, and that's what I did. All right, so now we're moving on. So now when it comes to certain kids, We grew up, when we first hit the Avenue, every other weekend, or maybe every weekend, it was always me, you, John, and Georgie on one bicycle headed towards Avenue S and Van Sicklin
Yeah.
every weekend. It was us four. If anyone could picture that, four kids on a mongoose type bike, one on the seat, one on the handlebars, one on. We didn't have pegs back then, but we had the little nuts on the back, and you would hang on. Then you had someone in between the handlebars and the seat. So four kids riding from Bath Avenue every weekend to Avenue S and Van Sicklin Street. Now you brought up Georgie and his upbringing. Do you think when it comes to Georgie, um, but I'm gonna put this. I wanna put this one out there. When it comes to someone like Chestnut, could Chestnut have avoided getting involved with that kind of life in
Of
any
course.
kind of way?
Of course he could have. Absolutely. Chestnut was a good kid. Chestnut was a Bay 23rd kid. Uh, you hung out with him a lot too.
Chestnut became my best friend because we
Yeah.
had a fist fight. Yeah,
You
and he
know.
actually was a good kid. One thing I learned to realize, and I don't want to like stereotype people, but when you are smaller, they call it the Napoleon complex. You do come off like very like, you know, you're looking to defend everything that's in front of you because you are smaller. And Chestnut had that. He was smaller and everyone was bigger. So, there comes this mentality where you want to be seen as just as someone who's of regular stature. Same thing with Georgie. Do you think someone like Georgie could have avoided the life?
Little Georgie probably couldn't avoid the life because his father was a wise guy. I mean, not sure if he was straight up, but his father was a wise guy. His father killed. His father sold lots of drugs. I'm saying, the mother used to tell us all the time, all the money that would come into this house, the people he was socializing with. So little Georgie, his destiny was probably carved in concrete. His two godfathers was Eddie Leno and Anthony Sparrow. So eventually, if you don't succumb to drugs, you don't get involved in drugs, he definitely becomes a wise guy, 100%. I'm saying, and but that's that part of that life. I'm saying, when you hit the street, you're coming up. Some kids are going to turn into drugs. Some people are going to go straight and do what they're told by the older guys. I'm saying, and some people are gonna, do their own thing.
All right. Now, in your opinion, not even your opinion, based on your experience with the entire avenue in the neighborhood, what do you consider was the genuine, realistic downfall?
Uh, no, the Oriental is not there no more. It's now Marshalls. So the downfall.
Realistically, what do you think the downfall was?
What do you mean the downfall? Are we going before John Polio or after John Polio? Because when John Polio gets killed, that's basically when all the trouble really
The
starts. When
downfall.
the heavy.
That's the downfall.
So I would say, when John Polio was murdered, that was basically, when we all got together and we said, you know what, we're gonna make a pact.
Yeah.
You see your friend die when you're a young kid. It's basically, you want to die too. at that time. I'm saying because you're a young kid, you don't know what you're saying. I'm saying you're just thinking with your balls. You're not thinking with your brain. You're just thinking, wow, you know what? You want revenge. I'm saying, you're brokenhearted. You don't even know who you are at that time either. I'm saying when you're 18, 19 years old, you don't even know who you are. A man's brain don't develop until he's like in his late 20s or something.
Okay. Do you think it was business, just business, when it came to Paulie's demise in the eyes of his perpetrators?
Nah, it wasn't just business. I'm saying just business would have been him laying out on the street. I'm saying not them killing him in his house. I'm saying and his parents and the people who love him coming home to that, and they got to clean up that mess and never to live in that house again. I'm saying, so you know what? That wasn't business. That's all bullshit. I'm saying there ain't no just business. Business is when someone hurt someone you love, and you retaliate and hurt someone, and return it right back to them. I'm saying, but no, there wasn't no business in that. I'm saying, Paulie G did a lot for us at that time. He really did, and he was coming up. He was a respected kid. There's a lot of things I look back. He did make a lot of mistakes.
He did.
Right? Of course, he made a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of things I look back, but you know what? Those are things you're going to be reading in the book. I'm saying I'm not going to talk about that, but in the book you will get those details of where he made a lot of mistakes, because in this life, you got to make these people feel important when you're in that life. I'm saying, and you got to look at them as a brother. I'm saying that you're not better than them and stuff like that. And there was times, Paulie G, Joe Benanti had a big ego. I'm saying because he was a wise guy, and he just must have felt, listen, you know what? This kid's a young kid up and coming. Of course, when he gets straightened out, you know what? I'm going to be a nobody then. Saying because I can't control him. I'm saying, what? Let me straighten out somebody I can control. Let me straighten out somebody I can control. I'm saying who's more controllable. I'm saying Fabrizio is definitely more controllable. I'm saying Paulie G. I'm saying Paulie G really had big shoulders. He did a lot of work. Paulie G had big balls.
So it's safe to say that it really took something.
Paulie G wasn't going to get straightened out as much as he thought he was gonna. He wasn't going to get straightened out because look, it's just if you look down the line of history, okay, look at Louis Tuzio killing Gus Faraci, okay, and then they kill Louis Tuzio. I'm saying it's real easy sometimes instead of straightening them out, killing them, just get rid of them. I'm saying because at the end of the day, all you got to do is order it. You're not going to do the work personally. You're going to make someone else that's close to him do it. I'm saying so it's real simple. But these guys, that's the edge that these wise guys have, the old timers, against the younger guys. Because in that life, when you're called for, you got to come in. So you got to trust somebody. I'm saying so that person that you trust, you better trust them 100%. I'm saying, and I could tell you, I don't think anybody in that life could be trusted 100%.
I think it's safe to say that when Paulie made a decision to push someone, it was definitely 100% probably nothing to do with business. Right?
Well,
or you could just give me a yes or no. That's it. We can move on.
Yeah, I can say so.
Sometimes some things should be left unsaid for another time. Okay, so, all right. So aside from all the beefs that you had with other kids, the crews, what crews do you remember that you did get along with, if any?
Oh, there's a lot of kids I got along with. in the neighborhood.
Yeah, just crews in general, because everyone will tend to believe that Bath Avenue, just always had beef, regardless of anything, not realizing
Nah,
that
it's not.
had other relationships.
It's not. You know what? It's not. That's not even true, because there's certain, like, when I'm with Paulie G or maybe Reynolds and Calco back in that time, there's some kids that are my friends. You know what? They can't approach Calco, Reynolds, or Paulie G, but they'll approach me. And then once they approach me, Calco, Tommy, and Paulie G know that they're my friends. I'm saying
Hmm.
I'll go by like Gerard, Willie. I'm
Yeah.
saying those were my friends. And then once they came around, I mean, they all know that they were my friends. And then they
Mm.
started hanging out with them too, started making money with them, you know. So, there's all there's a couple kids from 13th Avenue I got along with, every John Matera, he was a cool kid. Michael Marola, he was nuts at the time. The kid Leo, I was friendly with him, before we got into the beef. I'm saying
Yeah.
that beef was because of Michael Marola. I'm
Yeah.
saying those kids on the Avenue U I was friendly with.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, yeah.
there
I
was,
mean,
there was
it's
kids from
true.
downtown Brooklyn. Wait, let me finish. There was kids from downtown Brooklyn I was friendly with. I'm saying, when you're in that life and you're a stand-up guy and you're making a name for yourself, you know what? You get a lot of respect. That's just the way it is. I'm saying, and that's how I was. You know, and then once you cooperate, that's it. Everybody fucking hates you, and that's it. You're a scumbag. You
Yeah.
know, that's how
Yeah.
that life is. I'm saying you could kill your friend, but you can't talk. You know, it's a fucked up life. It really is.
It's control.
Yeah, exactly.
Um. Yeah. And another thing is, you probably met a lot of kids in other schools as
Yeah.
well, and you befriend them, and they're from other neighborhoods. And then when you go to those neighborhoods, you wind up seeing that the friends you were
Mhm.
with from other schools, you know?
This guy's got a quick question. Jimmy, did you ever protect kids in the neighborhood from getting bullied? Of course, absolutely. There was a couple kids I protected in the neighborhood. There was one time Joey Calco wanted to beat up the kid Anthony Pigeon. Kidding me. And I said, no, you can't, leave the kid alone. The kid was all burnt up or something. I mean, then he had a problem with Joey Milano. I'm saying, I mean, listen, yeah, I did the right thing. I'm saying, look, there was times I built people out.
Yeah.
I'm saying, guys' girlfriends would call me, say, Jimmy, so-and-so got locked up. I can't bail him out. I need 5,000. I would go directly to the place. I bailed them out. I'm
Mm.
saying I was a nice guy like that. In all honesty, look, I really was. I was a good guy, and I always try to do the right thing all the time. You know, Eddie G's in the chat.
Yeah, because I could also remember um, when we all started going to Dyker, you were eventually like transferred to Shallow.
Yes,
You
I got
know?
thrown out. I got thrown out of 163
Yeah.
for mooning a teacher, where I was mooning little Georgie Adamo, and Georgie opened up the door, and the
Well,
teacher.
no, actually, she went in the bathroom. Don't forget that part.
Well, I don't remember that.
She went in the bathroom telling both of you to get out of the bathroom. And then she saw what she saw, whatever you did, and she held you accountable for it. And instead of
No, but
suspending
there
you,
was yeah, but there was so much going on at that time. Then I had to get reevaluated
yeah,
in the school. I mean, with the lady, with the
yeah,
book. Then
yeah,
this guy sent his mother a time bomb in a book. She opened up the book, it blew up, and that was the lady that was reevaluating me. So he ended up killing his mother. There was so much shit going on back then. A lot of craziness.
yeah. All right.
Dino Calabo's home. You got the wrong Dino.
What do you think could have been an ultimatum that Paulie would be backstabbed other than business?
Paulie G had this way about him sometimes. I'm saying where he would wise guys were afraid of him. I'm saying he did a lot of work, but he had sometimes, he'd tell you the way it is. I'm saying, the thing is too, Paulie G was making $10,000 a week from drug money. So you think about that, 10,000 a week. I don't know what he was giving Joe Benanti at the time. He might have been giving Joe Benanti, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000. Joe Benanti might say, listen, I could do this. I could take all this money. I'm saying I could divide it myself. I'm saying, I mean, look, when it comes to money, a lot of people have green eyes, So, there's a lot of backstories behind that. I'm saying, I got 111 people in the chat. Thanks for showing up.
All right, now, I want to go into a little of today's topics and just do a little comparison. Say like cocaine was very big in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. And I'm sure many people OD'd and died from doing too much cocaine. Same as heroin.
Sure.
As they continued to deal it, knowing the deaths. Now you have a drug like fentanyl. Fentanyl is killing.
It's killing everybody.
I don't know, what is it? Fucking 4 in 10 people these days.
It's a lot.
Do you think a drug like that would have still been committed back then the way it is committed now on the streets?
No, back then it was a little different. Back then, guys, when they sold drugs, like on Bay Parkway and Bath Ave was known to sell like angel dust. I'm saying, like if you came a little more towards like Bay 23rd, Bay 16th, you had to keep that away from there. I'm saying there were certain rules in our neighborhood, things you had to stay away from. Don't get me wrong. People dabbled in it.
Yeah.
But cocaine was huge in our neighborhood. You get cocaine everywhere. Marijuana, you could get marijuana everywhere. But the dope was really it was in the neighborhood, but it was secret. Like you had to know who had it. I'm saying, but it was
you had to leave the neighborhood definitely in order to get it.
Yeah, but they had their little spots, like maybe outside on 8th Avenue, 9th Avenue, Sunset Park, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Saying. But the neighborhood now, look, the neighborhood's infested with drugs, dope, fentanyl, everywhere. I'm saying it's all over the place.
And do you think, back then you always had to like be introduced to somebody in order for them to, familiarize themselves with your face so you can go get what you want? Do you think that was important as opposed to today?
Well, back then it was, everyone stood on their word and their name. I'm saying, so it was different.
And it was safe if you knew them.
Yeah, I mean, back then,
These days they're going to strangers, and
back then you knew where you were getting it from. You knew that you weren't going to get no bullshit. Today, today these addicts, they'll just take it off of anybody.
Anyone.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of them are smart. Saying some of them have testers where they test this shit and say before they even put it in their body. But when I was growing up, I never heard of all these overdoses that are going on today. And
also the other difference is years ago they based their business on something that had quality to bring business to have continuous business. These days you can't get anything quality, so they're making it up on their own, and they're actually killing off their business slowly, by people just ODing and dying constantly.
Well, the thing is, this is the thing, okay? You see how this was going on back then. You remember Old Man Gordon, Daddy's friend in Manhattan?
Of
He had the
course.
big house
Of
on the
course.
block
Of
over there
course.
next door from the bar.
Genius.
And I used to sell him coke. This guy, okay, I used to bring coke from Brooklyn to Manhattan when I was a kid to him, and he had this nice, beautiful apartment. Right, he had tons of money. This guy, tons of money. I used to do business with him, and a guy like that. This is the thing of today. Back then, the drug users knew the drug dealers. I'm saying, so you don't have to worry about someone giving you bad shit. Today, it's not like that. The drug dealers don't care about their customers. Saying back then, when you had a customer, you wanted to keep it. You wanted to build a business.
Exactly.
Saying
Exactly.
today, they're not building a business. You understand? What they do is they don't care about their customers.
They're killing them over $30.
Yes.
So that's the modern day of organized crime, people. Okay, now we're going to continue a little bit more. We'll go into the way, I'm sure you've seen plenty of these rallies and protesting over people trying to just conform everyone into what they're into. When it comes to equality, racism. Can you tell us a little bit maybe about what would be the difference of where we came from and now what's going on today absolutely everywhere?
Well, what do you mean by that? Where we came from? What do you mean? You talking about the time of the
type of neighborhood that we grew up in? Could there be a rally to conform people?
I don't know about that. I don't think so.
Well, what do you think would happen?
What do you mean a rally?
If 150 people came marching through Bath Ave,
oh, there'd be a problem. If 150 back then, when we were kids, marched down Bath Avenue, people would take to the roofs and throw things off the roofs. I don't know. They'd probably fight, be defiant.
Now, let me ask you another question. People, when they hear of a name like Bensonhurst, automatically, these days they are indoctrinated to believe that Bensonhurst, they'll put the name, Yusuf Hawkins out there, and say that's a specifically racist neighborhood. What do you think of that personally?
It's not true. It's not a racist neighborhood. You have some racist people in the neighborhood, but it's not, because I had a lot of black friends. Okay, I had Peen, I had Jermaine, I had Sean, Quincy. These are people I spoke to all the time. I'm saying, so it's not a racist.
Growing up, Jermaine was my best friend. Peen was yours.
Yeah, but also growing up, see, our generation was a little different. Maybe the generation before us was a little more racist than us. I'm saying, but we weren't like that.
The difference is, those kids held themselves down.
Yeah, exactly. They held themselves.
That's how they got respect.
But we hung out with them. I'm saying we hung out with them. I remember hanging out with Polio, IO, WAP in the Marlboro Project, smoking a blunt when we were kids.
I was a member of Marlboro Community Center.
These are the things we did back then.
These are the things that other people tend to not even know about.
Well, that's the thing. They have this thing where, it was all gangster life and mob stuff, and it's not like that. I'm saying growing up, you
had moments to escape for sure.
Well, you're dealing with, in the course of life when you're a kid, okay, you're getting into mischief. You're growing up as a kid, okay, so you're finding out who you are. You're finding out about yourself. And you know what? You're starting out with graffiti. Then maybe you're doing a little you're skating in the skating ring. I'm saying you're throwing your windbreaker on. You're having a little fist fight on the corner. I'm saying you're making a name for yourself. But at the end, you're setting with your friends, who your friends are. I'm saying you might have two sets of friends, one from this area, one from down the block, whatever the case may be. But that's the part of growing up. You know what I mean? Finding out who you are.
Yeah, yeah, and knowing your history, and knowing that the only way to change it is to not repeat it in the bad faults. That I mean, look, as a kid, kids are curious. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, curiosity killed the cat. I mean, as a kid, if we went diving off the pier and something happened, you know better the next time that when you go back there, you're not going to do what you did the last time. And this is a big part of growing and getting to know who you are in your society. Okay, now we're going to stay on that. We're going to stay on this subject. There's a new movie being released, Sound of Freedom. Are you familiar with it?
No.
Sound of Freedom is about this guy Tim. I think his name is Tim Ballard. He used to be part of a special task force for the authorities, where he would track down missing kids who were kidnapped. He went eventually on his own, and he started, Jim Caviezel is playing him. It's a new movie. It'll be released in 2 days. A lot of people are making a big deal out of this. Every day we're waking up to find out more and more about child abuse, child neglect, pedophilia, rape. Back then, was there stuff like that going on, maybe in plain sight, that we didn't know about from the neighborhood, maybe another neighborhood, especially, nowadays we're seeing so many offenders, sex offenders, and, they're men, and it's not even with girls, it's with boys. Like everything that growing up, in and out of that life, is anything somewhat like familiarizing in with your mentality, where is it possible people involved could have been like this?
Well, you know what? Of course, you could get people that was in the life involved, but I wouldn't say a lot of people. I'm saying you might have a handful. I'm not really sure. I'm saying, but you have
Like taking advantage of children.
I don't know. I'm sure. Listen. You have the priest. I'm saying you have. I mean, there's some
Oh yeah,
wise
you
guys.
have the priests. It's what we're finding out now, because of the courage that people have to come out with. But now, when it comes to a life like that, we watch The Sopranos. We see a character hanging out. He's wearing chaps in a bar. Is that realistic in a way?
I would say it's a possibility. I'm saying I don't know how often it might go on, but I would say, listen, you know what? Nothing surprises you today, but it's not out in the open. I'm saying it's not out in the open like that. I'm saying maybe one day it will come out. Who knows? But it's not out in the open like that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, and when it comes to your specific history, what are the legit changes you think when someone is, Jim, I mean, you're one of these people, all your friends, one way or another, you got into a life of crime. And there were definitely some days, and it continues to go on, where criminals are waking up and they're trying to figure out how they can get out. What's the best thing they can do? How could they really, become, the hero in their family as opposed to the villain? What's the greatest piece of advice you can give to someone that's just stuck in a life and they really need a way of means of out? What's the best thing you can tell them?
I would say you got to stay positive, and if you're involved in anything, you're probably stuck in that life unless you left the neighborhood. But I would say try to look, you can't buy property in New York no more. I'm saying you have to buy property out of New York. I'm saying if you want to be successful, you buy cheap property in a different state. I'm saying, and then you collect rents. I'm saying being in New York is too expensive, so you got to start somewhere else. You got to start fresh. I'm saying I would say leave wherever you're at, go to a different state,
Different environment,
different
test out.
environment, and go from there. Because listen, hey, it's hard making money in certain spots because maybe but you could try something new. I don't know, drive a truck. I don't know, take a test for something else. But listen, look, the mob ain't what it used to be. I'm saying back then the mob was strong. They had a long arm, stuff like that. Today you have cameras all over the place. No one's afraid to call the AUSA. I'm saying, really, if a wise guy walked into a legitimate store today, you just say, yeah, okay, whatever you want, come back later, and just call the AUSA. He'll be there and he'll be ready to arrest these guys. I'm saying, I mean, it's a different world. I'm saying back then the mob had a lot of influence. It ain't like that no more. I'm saying to join the mob today, you gotta be you're not too fucking smart. I'm saying unless you're just stuck in there, because there's so many ways to make money today legitimately. I mean, you have the internet. I mean,
Well, it's certain mentality that's based in numbers. And just like gangs and just like any criminal enterprise, um, if you fear them, they'll
Tommy
always they'll always exist.
Tommy Lucchese says hello.
So all right, so that was nice. We hit number 13 with that. And I think it's nice.
I also wanted to talk about one quick thing. Even the way you see how in the black communities they're all killing each other.
100%,
And
yes.
that's how our neighborhood was. I'm saying, see, people don't get it. See, we live the same life as them. I'm saying, and it's like they live the same life as us. I'm saying, but we're in an Italian community. I mean, it's not as crazy as it was back then. I'm saying because back then it was really crazy. You had
Well, to
the
certain,
Carini brothers on 18th
yeah,
Avenue. They were nuts. I'm saying Frankie
100%,
Smith.
yes.
It was just listen. There was crazy people everywhere. Everyone was fucking nuts back then.
Yeah, 100%. And we got to experience a lot of it at the time.
Eddie G, what's up, baby? Big G, 484.
At the time, you probably wouldn't even realize who you were around and what you were around and how bad it was because it was life, I mean, think about, anyone out there looking to change their life has got to come to the realization that, money matters and money could maybe possibly keep you a little healthy, but money does not buy happiness. So if anyone out there thinks you're going to have $1 billion and be happy, you probably won't. Just check out most of the
That's for sure. Money don't buy happiness.
You want to be happy. I think the best thing to do is, you can look at this any way you want, but Jesus said, the ultimate commandment was his commandment, the 11th, which was to love everyone. And I think by trying to produce love outside of you, you get to produce it so much in you. And if you can help a woman across the street open up a door, I mean anything. Just like growing up, you take her bags, you throw them in the cart. I mean anything possible. Me every winter I shovel all of my neighbors' houses. I don't charge them a dime. Why? Because you know what? I need some exercise. It gets me good air, and it's something that I like. Growing up, I created creative outlets. The first one on Kings Highway at the Brooklyn Dance Center, and we didn't get paid much money. But what we did was we took a lot of the kids off the streets from smoking blunts and being stupid, and we gave them a little of a home momentarily some days during the week. They learned a little about something, and it felt good. So anything that could make you feel pure and good from helping, um, even yourself, help yourself the most that you can, and by helping yourself, you'll be able to help your family. And that's what it's all about. And you're going to find that. I think that's where real happiness is. And exercise.
Now, John and Jimmy, my favorite New Yorkers. And the thing is, Lewis Cole, you know what? You speak about New Yorkers, and look, I'm a native New Yorker, okay? Born and raised all my life over here. Born Methodist Hospital, downtown Brooklyn. And I was just talking to an old timer in New York City I was doing a job with. This guy was a super in the same building for 35 years. They were moving out of his building onto another building. And he was telling me about the old New York and how the new New York is totally different. Today, you move here from another city and you say, where you're from? They say, I'm from New York. I'm saying it's totally different. Back then, it was a different world. The real New Yorkers, I tell you, they were great.
Well, I could remember growing up, you had people from Pennsylvania. Every now and then you'll meet someone. And it wasn't really about how they grew up. The best thing about meeting them was, you were talking to someone that had experience outside your neighborhood. So you got to hear stories that didn't have anything to do with anybody that you know. And at the same time, they were looking to adapt as much as they could, just like immigrants coming to America. They weren't immigrants that hated the country. No, they were 19th century immigrants who came to America. They embraced the American credo because of the fascism of the old homeland. Like, could you imagine owning a farm and the government comes and says, you know what, this farm no longer belongs to you? This is what Italy was going through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And most of the money, they call it, Milano could probably help me out. Righiri. They were known to come to this country because they were held down in the other country. There was no work for them. So you had a lot of immigrants coming to this country making money and then sending it to the old country. And people don't know, Italy was built up on American money. So a lot of people have to recollect like their traditional history into like the real uniqueness of the American credo, because we're the ones that changed everything.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Going back to look, this guy says house hanging out on Coney Island as a kid. Now look, now you mentioned Coney Island. I remember when I was first introduced to Coney Island, I took a ride. I think it was Georgie Conti, Frankie Americanda, Scotty Fapp, and maybe Giovanni was in the car. Okay. And it was me, maybe little Georgie Polio, and they drove us to Coney Island. And back then, when I was a kid, Coney Island was bad.
It looked just like the Warriors movie.
Look. Coney Island was bad back then. Coney Island is nice now.
Yeah.
Saying compared to back then. I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's when I was introduced to Coney Island. But yeah, we always went to Coney Island at nighttime, go to Nathan's, have some hot dogs. I'm saying go on the Cyclone. But
anyone that reflects on Coney Island, they usually bring up the Warriors. And just in case, if anyone's watching, I just have to tell you that was not a movie set. It was the way Coney Island was set, and there was a lot of roller coasters that were broken down. They were old and dingy. They were replacing them. You know, it was like a war zone in Coney Island. And I could remember me, Joey, Keenan, Richie Brandon, Padone, Little Joe. Every time we cut out of school, we headed towards Coney Island. That's all we did. First stop, Nathan's. After Nathan's, we went on a couple of roller coaster rides, and that was our hangout. And we did that, I don't know, every other day or anytime we got a chance to.
What's the next one?
Actually, the questionnaire is over. I think it went good. I think in the future, it would be good to put more interviews together. I think something like this that's well maintained, where you can answer and respond simply, is gratifying in a way to people. You know, they get to listen and to see what you're really all about, and that's really it.
Oh yeah, so that was cool.
And I just want to touch base on something. I'm writing a few books right now. One book I'm almost done with. Me and Jimmy compromised on this. Another book is called Graffiti Mouth, in which my YouTube channel is based on. Graffiti Mouth is really not based on me writing graffiti, but it's more like when you watch the movie American Graffiti, do you see all the graffiti Ron Howard writes all over? Yeah, there is none. But yet it's called American Graffiti because it's a life based on the stories on the walls, the souls of the sidewalks. So have that in mind when you think of what a graffiti mouth is. It's someone that's regurgitating something that was, and something that was very unique at a certain time. So, you know, in the future, look out for that. Tune into also my channel.
Yeah, check out John's channel, Graffiti Mouth.
There's not a lot of stuff on it, but you know, I'm a bit busy doing some other work. So, you know, I am also going to be, there's a film called The House of Test, the edited version on my channel. You can tune into that. That's about underground rhyme movement in New York City. It features Test One, Despot, I Am Many, and Low Deck, the MCs. You'll love it. I also am putting together with original footage that I have a new documentary called A Breed Grows in Brooklyn, which is based on how I was inspired by certain people to pave a certain direction within Bensonhurst and Gravesend, where at one time a lot of people did not want to accept hip hop culture. So I'm the guy who really established that in the neighborhood. While everyone else quit, I want also everyone to realize that there was hip hop is in the early 80s. Everyone went on, they wanted to become movie stars and actors and do this and that, become artists. I'm JC from Bath Avenue, who maintained the dance, who loved it, who embraced it. And it is what it is. I had to catch a lot of beatings in order to do something like that. So in the future, try to check out that documentary. I think you'll love it. And it is coming out good.
There you go, guys. So yeah, I came on today, had a little fun with it. And you know, I guess we'll do this again soon. If any of you guys want to ask me any questions, you could ask me questions. Also, you could email me at therealjimmycalandra@gmail.com. You know, I got some new merchandise coming out soon. And hopefully you guys pick it up. Just check it out. Subscribe to my channel. And I want to start doing this a little more often.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know what? I want to start questioning you on different topics in the future as well.
Yeah, I don't want to do it on other channels. I want other people interviewing me. I'd rather just do it on my channel.
Yeah.
Because I want my channel to start getting a little better,
Well, you know what? Continue what you're doing. Don't stop. You slow down a little bit. There's always going to be haters out there. I don't really know what to say about them. Especially the Twitches. There's a lot of Twitches out there. They like to set up and organize certain people, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people, man, and I pray for these people that they find God. They love drugs so much, and they just get caught up in a group that they really don't belong in. They know nothing about. They have nothing better to do with their lives. They're bored, but man, the Bible is free online. Just start reading a verse. Get with Christ. God bless you.
Love you too.
I love you.
So I got Louis Cole. I got in the studio. I'm gonna bring him on. Let him come on for a minute. And I got Joey Dubs. He's gonna come on too. Joey Dubs, don't kill us today. You hear? Don't kill us today, Joey Dubs.
Joey has gained
a
big reputation.
Yo, John. How's everything, brother?
How's everything, man?
I'm really good, man. How are you?
Good. Thanks.
Yeah, it's really good to see you. It's been a long time.
Hey, man, I gotta go where you are, bro. I gotta go where you are, man. I gotta get that accent. I gotta bring it back to America. I don't know. You're gonna have to teach me some dialect so I can go and audition for Peaky Blinders.
I love it. Hey, listen, when I want you, I'm not gonna say it. I'm just gonna word my mouth and you talk for me. Look like I got an accent.
How's everything, Joe?
What's up, Louis, man? It's good seeing you, brother, man. Graffiti. I love
peace and love, bro.
Brothers talk. I love when the Calandra brothers get together. It's like you're in the room with a family. You know what I mean? You see the contrast, though. Look, Graffiti Mouth into the breakdancing, graffiti. Jimmy coming home, looking at Jimmy, got the bulletproof vest on, his balls on his side. I mean, this dude must have been living in like two different worlds. Like, man, like,
peace, unity,
crazy,
unity,
man.
love, and having fun.
It's crazy, man.
Let me just thank Big G 484 for the super chat.
Big G.
I appreciate it.
Man, where was you when I was in jail, Big G? Shit, I could have used that $2.99.
Bob Entertainment Group, $1.99. Thank you. Very kind of you. Thank you. Tyler, $50. Thank you. Very kind of you. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
It means a lot. Thank you.
Hey, Jimmy, I've got a little question for you, like you, John, or even the viewers.
Louis,
what do you think?
Louis Cole.
What do you
wait? Before we get into the question, how's the kids?
Okay. Yeah, they're all doing really good. Thanks. Yeah, they're all great, Jimmy.
Good.
How's the girls?
They're good. Get it big.
Yeah, true. But yeah, everyone's doing really good over here, man. And even me myself, I've just been really busy with because I'm back in the football now, coaching. So yeah, I really threw myself into it, but it's going really good. So
wait. So when you say football, do you mean soccer?
Yeah, I mean soccer. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's we only like to.
You play the real football.
Right.
Well, yeah. The ancient art, John.
Oh, yeah, that shit is hardcore, man.
The only difference is we use our head as well as our feet. You know what I mean? Whereas I know in America it's more, in the States, you use your hands a bit more, don't you? In American football, it's just slightly different, but
yeah. Oh no, nothing like the real football, bro. That's real shit right there.
Louis Cole, what's the question?
Oh yeah. So I was just wanting to ask. Obviously, I've got seven cousins that live in the States as well. I've been asking them when I've spoke to them, but I just wanted to get your take or the viewers' take on what do you guys think of RFK running for the next presidential?
You know, wait, you want me to go first? Okay, look, I think,
Yeah.
look, in all honesty, I think it's a good thing. Okay, I actually like him. There's some things I agree with him on. You know, he's an old school Democrat. So, so, you know, I like him. I don't think he's going to win. I'm saying?
No.
I mean, if he does, you know, that'll be you know, he might he might do something for this country because he's old school. And you know, look, he had his uncle that was killed, his father was killed. So he has a different mindset than these people. You know, he wants to see this country do better.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your take on it, John?
My take? Oh, by the way, I just finished writing something called American Diaspora, and I'm hoping to get that printed up into a small book soon. And my take on everything that's going on is, I mean, listen, you know, I love the Bible, and Christ is the divine physician, the ultimate physician.
Yeah.
So anything that you need help with, you go to him. In the Bible, they speak of, you know, using discern. You know, you don't have the right to really judge people. But now, if people come off with bad intentions, you already know what's up.
Yeah, 100%.
So now, with that being said, when you hear someone like Kennedy talk, when you hear someone like Trump, who is a businessman, not a politician, when you hear someone like Joe, it doesn't take a genius to know who is projecting bad intentions, who's lying, and who's being honest. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Right there in your face. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I agree.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I feel like if you're behind a large group of people trying their hardest to conform you into their ideologies, and the minute you step foot into the room that disagrees, you're either doxxed, you're gaslighted, you're held accountable for just speaking your own mind. What does that tell you about those people? You know, people go, oh, you know, the left and the right, they're exactly the same. Who created cancel culture? Think of that. Think about the pretentiousness of the mentality that you have to say, you know what? We're going to cancel that person. Cancel?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
What the fuck? This isn't a game show. This is life. Let's bring up Paul. Let's bring up Paul, the disciple. You had 10 other disciples who were petrified of Paul when he was sold.
True,
He feared no man. He was a murderer. He didn't even believe in Christ until he seen Christ with his eyes. Christ didn't even have to commit a miracle in front of Paul. All Paul had to do was feel the energy of Christ, and it changed him instantaneously. All right? He became now one of the strongest and greatest disciples. So what right do we have as people to go, you know what? You're a killer. Forget about you. Well, how about if that person wants to redeem themselves? How about if that person has a heart set in stone right now to start helping the world? Right now, every day, they already know the mistakes that they made in their past.
Yeah, true.
Someone have to say, no, it's too late. It's too late. No one has that right. No one. God has that right. So let's give it to God.
True.
That's how I feel, bro.
All right, Pastor Calandra.
You're preaching there, John. Preaching there. 100%, brother. 100%.
Jesus Christ, that's who I am.
Amen.
Just to let you know, Jimmy's got this embedded in his heart. It takes takes a whole lot to get this out of Jimmy. Because as a kid, Jimmy took classes with biblical readings, and you know, you got to remember, Jimmy was my big brother too. So one of his jobs was to keep me out of trouble.
Yeah.
You know,
Protector. He was the protector, wasn't he, John?
In a way, yeah. Yeah, sometimes he was the agitator as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like all big brothers.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's how it was. But
Yeah.
all of my friends, like, you know, like the way we speak about the neighborhood together, like my friends also grew up amongst Jimmy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of my friends, Sab, Joe, every single friend that I had, Richie, Brandon, they all experienced somewhat a relationship between Georgie, you know, John,
Yeah.
Jimmy, you know what I mean? So we all kind of slipped, we all mingled one way or another.
Yeah, like interlinked, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually had a lot of fun with his friends.
Yeah.
Which ones?
Joe Milano.
Oh, forget it. Well,
Joe
Joe's the greatest. So.
Joe Milano, he was in a car accident with me. I had the cops chasing me.
Hey, how you doing? How y'all doing?
And I actually told the cops, just let him go. He went to I said, yeah, let him go. He had nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
But Jimmy, what was I remember a year back when we were talking about what was the two older guys who used to teach you how to play American football in the neighborhood? You said they were.
Oh, you had Duck.
That's right, yeah.
You had Duck, Donald Duck. Remember Duck? Duck taught us football. He used to be the quarterback, and he would taught us football around the avenue and also 163.
The Big Sal.
Huh?
Sal.
Big Sal, John.
163. Was it Satch's brother?
Oh, I'm not sure. But yeah, you had a lot of guys. But Duck, you had Frank Amari.
Yeah.
Frankie Amari. I mean, he was very athletic. You had a lot of guys that were very into sports. Guys that were a little older than me. You always
growing up on the avenue, Lou and Joe, like this guy Frank that he's talking about. You had some very like unique fit guys, and they loved working out. They loved running, playing handball. They played every sport in the world that you could imagine.
Like good physique, John.
What's that?
Did they have like good physiques, John?
Oh my God, dude! Yo, different level from back then. Different. What you see, how people look now. Like, you know how they go to the gym.
Steroids and all that fake.
These guys did it in the street. They did the push-ups, pull-ups. They ran. They did certain exercises. They played sports every single day. They coached the kids in the street.
But Frankie Amari was basically one of the top athletic guys in the neighborhood as far as physique.
Yeah.
Frankie Amari, because you know what I mean. Look, when we grew up, you got to understand something. When we grew up, okay. Going to the gym was like for fags.
There wasn't a lot of gyms.
There wasn't a lot of gyms back then. I'm saying because you know what I mean. Then it became cool later on. I'm saying in the in the 80s.
But Frankie was also a good impact for the kids. You know, he made sure like hey, we're playing a football game at either the park or the schoolyard today. Be there at 3:00. This and that.
Yeah.
You know, and then at one point, Frankie set this thing in the neighborhood, his schedule, where every Sunday, Frankie would take all of us over to 17th Avenue Bay, and we would all run, all the Bath Avenue kids, from 17th Avenue to the Verrazano and back. Every Sunday morning, we would get up and do it. And then, whoever came in lead, he'd give them like $2 or something. So every Sunday, all of us were kind of waking up in hopes of today could be my $2 day.
Today's the day.
$2, man. I'm gonna get it,
Yeah, that's great, that John.
Usually it was like little Georgie who won, or someone.
He sounds like a great role model, you know, for back then.
Frankie
You know,
was good. Frankie was good people.
He was.
Hey,
Frankie.
but Jimmy and Graffiti. What about now? You got to talk about 4th of July in that neighborhood. What was
4th of
that
July.
like? You already know.
4th of July. Look,
You already know the wise guys went crazy on that day.
I'm gonna tell you about 4th of July quick, and then John could talk about it. But 4th of July was a special day, okay? Because we love the fireworks, and we would wake up early in the morning and make sure that we could light off fireworks and stuff like that. And we'd be running around for the guys in the club. They would make us go. You know what? Go get this. Go get that. Whatever else they needed. I'm saying we would go help them out, set things up for tonight.
All right.
I'm saying, but their shows were amazing. I'm saying the shows that they put on were amazing. But right as soon as Frankie the Chico died, that's when they stopped putting on the shows.
Yeah.
But I tell you, those times are great. Look, I'm talking about gasoline over.
Listen, Joe, I'm not
flames.
Joe,
flames going. Look, stories high, so much, crazy, insane.
Look,
the cops coming, fire department coming.
Wow.
Wooden crates filled with bandoliers, Joe. I'm not joking. And it went all the way down the avenue. And then at the end of the bandolier, they probably threw 1,000 mats of firecrackers and M80s on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
And then with the colorful stuff, it was ridiculous.
And I know you're always doing the Roman candle fights, because we used to do the Roman
we did that. We did a lot of that.
The
and the good thing about good thing about those parties was they didn't just really reflect those parties in their favor. I mean, if you were someone from the neighborhood, they gave you fireworks.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, yo, man.
Just became routine every year. Yeah.
Routine. And then eventually, as you get older, you get to know them. Now you're shopping in their garage for fireworks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it was.
You know what? Look, it's funny because look, so when we were kids, we were also, older. I mean, say we were in our teens, we would always act older. And the 4th of July, we would even pour the gasoline. The guys would give us the gasoline to pour on the thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And look, we're kids. Kids can't do this today. Kids can't do this.
Not today.
No, I know.
I mean, it was a different time.
While most kids were shooting off 16-ounce rockets in bottles, we were shooting them off in our hands.
Right.
Yeah, just throwing them. Yeah.
Same thing with the Roman candles. Once you got it started, I mean, eventually you went like this. And you took it down and you started aiming at people. And then eventually they lit up and you were having fights behind cars.
Ducking
and this is a Bay Ridge thing. This is a Bensonhurst thing. It's a Coney Island thing. I mean, that's
great though.
Kids of Brooklyn, this is what we did.
I know even when I was growing up in the 80s, when I look like how certain kids are now, because we had very little technology, did we, back in the 80s,
Nothing.
Me and my friends...
if we played video games, we played them for an hour, bro.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We used to walk to the arcade, remember? We used to walk to the arcade and throw the coin.
That's it. And
then
you ran out of money and you had to leave. That's it.
All night.
Yeah.
Forget, they're playing the game all day.
Yeah, because even me and my boyhood friends, we were either out on bikes or we were playing football somewhere, or we would go and find a lake and go swimming if the weather was good, just
on the avenue,
outdoors.
On the avenue, most of us would go pool hopping because we didn't have pools, so we jumped in other people's pools.
Yeah.
They'd come out and yell at us, but then by then, we felt good, we were refreshed. And we just continued to do house to house.
I'll tell you, the neighborhood was crazy back then with the M80s, the blockbusters, throwing them in garbage cans, just lighting them and tossing them.
Right.
And, look, there was a couple casualties in the neighborhood too with those fireworks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The
so a couple of fingers get blown off.
Yeah.
Once you see someone's finger once you see it gets blown off, you kind of you become chill a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I do not want that to happen to me, man.
Exactly.
You know, so.
What I was gonna
And
say
then at one point, always around the 4th of July, because the M80s and blockbusters came into sale, and then the ashtrays.
Yeah.
We would put them in the, you know, the pay phones where you collect the change.
Oh yeah.
Put them in there, and it exploded.
Explode.
And then you get the change, the box, and you know.
That was that a little bit of an earner, John, as well.
It's yeah.
It could be.
You would, hey man, you know, it's like when you hear about them, you're like, yeah, you don't want to fuck with them. But when you think about like the shit we were doing too, it's like, yo, those motherfuckers be looking at us like we'd be great with them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I know it's. I was gonna say, what's have you got any good memories, Jimmy, that stick out from the childhood? You know, thinking back to the 80s, or you know what I mean.
I have a lot. I have a lot of memories. I have a lot of
Yeah.
memories. You know, I just hanging out in front of Nick's candy store. Back in the day, when you hung out in front of Nick's candy store, like all of us be hanging out, and if someone just went by us, okay, we would play. Someone would just slap him in the neck, bang. You just walk by, you would get slapped in the neck, bang, and look, and we'll just all be looking straight. You wouldn't know which one of us did it.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That's what we used to do.
That's true. And then there was certain times where, you know, we'd be with John.
Yeah.
And John had brothers, you know, Frankie and Paul. And
Hey, John, look, we got a comment over here. What?
Giuseppe.
Joey Milano.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the real, yo, right there. That's my childhood boy right there.
Oh yeah, with the fat shoelaces.
You know, Joey, me and Joey started cutting out in 2nd grade.
Yeah. Joe Milano.
2nd grade.
Yeah.
Me and this kid started cutting out.
He says, look, John, how about when we used to wear Reeboks and Puma sneakers or Adidas sneakers with the fast shoelaces, and Jimmy and his friends would take them off our feet and throw them across the street.
Yeah.
Well,
I can remember.
Oh yeah, wait, he used to have the fat shoelaces. We used to take them off for them.
Well, I can remember, like this will give you a little taste of the new school and the old school.
Yeah.
So now I'm with my friend Richie Brandon. And we used to, you know, we got really into like bombing, you know, writing graffiti. And we became, you know, Marlboro had a community center. And every time we went to the community center, you saw all the kids in the neighborhood there. You know, kids like Zane and Brad and Entz and Shay became really close with guys like Peabody, Razzle. All of these, you know, WAP, IO, Richie Baggs, all of these old school kids. And, you know, everyone who was into so-called hip hop went there. So now we're leaving there. We head back to the Avenue.
Yeah.
I walk in my house with Richie. Jimmy's in there with Georgie, little Georgie. So Georgie turns around to the kid Richie and says,
"Yeah, what?
What's up? Where you coming from?" So Richie's like, "Marlboro," but Richie said it with a chip on his shoulder, like Marlboro. And Georgie said, "What'd you say?" And Richie said, and he said, "What do you mean Marlboro?" And Richie takes out a Marlboro Community Center card. And Georgie goes, "Wow, this is really nice. So you're a member of Marlboro now?" Georgie takes this kid and he fucking stuffs him underneath my bed. And he's shoving him underneath the bed and he's telling, yeah, all right, take your fucking card. And this, you know, and he's abusing the shit out.
Stick it where.
Even though that was my boy,
yeah,
I couldn't stop laughing, man.
Yeah, I bet you couldn't.
You know, and there was another time, you know, like, you know, I had a friend Rob that, you know, eventually the kid, you know, Joe from what's that movie called? Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
He was a little wise ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Zepp stopped me from kicking his ass one day with Brad.
Oh, wow.
You know, so eventually
Yeah.
he took us, you know, we got out of there because he was a little wise ass, the kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually the following day, my friend Rob ran into him and had an issue with him and took Joe and stuffed him in a garbage pail. And those are the kids that I hung out with.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, we had some fun times, you know, especially when they used to cut out. They had this kid, what was his name? Rob Dirt? John, which one was Dirt?
Bobby Dirt.
Bobby Dirt. They had Bobby Dirt. This kid was a dirt bomb. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in a neighborhood and they were cut out in my house and I would wrestle all of them. I'm saying I would come in there with my friends, I would wrestle them. I'm saying we wrestled them. And look, we were wild kids. Sometimes I would throw dots at them. We were wild kids. I'm telling you. That's how it was. I'm saying, but it was fun.
Well, you know what? It's true because at one point, not me and my friends, but his friends started carrying darts on them.
Yeah.
Like when we were young, we started Chinese stars.
Yeah, we did
Chinese stars and darts. Then eventually, some of them, when they saw the stray cats, they started throwing the darts at the stray cats.
Yeah, killing them.
It was a little hard to watch, man.
Yeah.
You know? Like that, you know, that's like some sociopath shit right there.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't down with that shit.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I don't want to get into the lunatic who loved the animals in the neighborhood, but you know, that's another time. But we'll save that for a book and everything. So
yeah,
you know,
that's another story, John.
It was a strange times. You know, one day
you had a lot of characters. You know,
yeah, 1 minute. You know, listen, you could be having the greatest fun of your life. It could be 10 o'clock in the morning. All it took was the wrong person to come around, and it shut everything off.
Yeah.
You know,
weren't y'all in the same neighborhood with Son of Sam? Weren't y'all in that time with Son of Sam?
Yeah. Well, where Frankie used to take, you know, that's the neighborhood right there. You know.
Yeah. Sammy said he was looking to kill the guy. They was going to kill that guy. They called.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because what a lot of people don't know too is when all of this shit happened with the racist riot on the U-Trip with Yusuf Hawkins, you know, people want to talk about how, you know, Bensonhurst was racist. The majority of neighborhoods in Bensonhurst, when they heard about what had happened on U-Trip, they sent out a personal code that if that kid, the kid Joe, was to be seen in the street, go off on him, annihilate him. Because he caused a big like element of a mentality where the media loved it. They loved it, and it was untrue. Just like what's going on now, Lou, Joe. You know what I'm saying? We're being told so many lies from the media, and it's true. It's fake, man.
Yeah.
You know, the same thing happened with all of the nonsense in Bensonhurst. Oh, Bensonhurst is this, Bensonhurst is that, and this and that. You got the biggest graffiti writers coming out of Bensonhurst. You got some of the greatest DJs coming out of Bensonhurst. You got some of the greatest B-boys. Yeah, believe me, yo, dude, when the New Breed showed up at Zulu Nations, Rocksteady, we were the target. You know why? Because we were the illest white boys. So we were tackled, get them. But I mean, like, you know, when you love so much and, you know, you touch base with the mentality and everything that comes with it, you go into it like a proper way and, you know, you love it. Like martial arts. It's like studying martial arts, you know, like once you become a B-boy, a boogie boy, that's how you start looking at the philosophy of it. It's not really about like, yo, let's show up here and battle this one and that one. It's like, yo, man, like we got a lot to learn here. Let's set ground and set an example for like the future. And we did that.
Yeah, because like house music. No, house music, John.
I'm
Jimmy.
a progressive house dancer too.
Yeah, it started in that whole movement. Like it came over here in the UK big as well in the 80s, 90s. But It started in New York and Chicago, didn't it?
Yes.
That
yes,
whole movement.
100%. Well, you know,
Yeah.
the initiation, a lot of people don't know when it comes to these subcultures. Way before this term hip hop existed, all of these subcultures existed.
Yeah.
You know, like when people tend to talk about hip hop culture, they don't understand, like, AKA New York
Yeah.
City culture is hip hop
Yeah.
culture. But only they businessized on certain aspects that they call elements now. At the end of the day, it's nothing but bullshit. Hip hop is a
Yeah.
business. The
But they
subcultures
capitalize, they commercialize
the
it.
subcultures are the actual
Yeah.
art forms being
Right.
lived. That's it. So if it wasn't for these subcultures, this term,
Yeah.
it wouldn't
What do
cost
you
a
think?
dime, and no one would care about it.
No.
Graffiti,
Yeah.
you know, you're big on the culture and the history. What do you think about the commercialization when they started commercializing hip hop? Remember back in the days, they
Well,
started
you know,
doing Run
listen,
DMC.
Joe,
It was Run
between,
DMC at first, remember? Then
well,
they
you
started
know,
Yeah.
well, it's funny.
Bad
Look,
Boys.
wait.
Remember the commercialization of hip hop? It changed the
Well,
culture.
the exploitation of hip hop culture
Right, the 80s.
probably came in the beginning of Wild Style, the movie.
Yeah, around in
Yeah.
the 80s.
That's probably 83, 84.
84,
And then you
85.
got,
They
you
started
know,
using
the
it in
movies
commercials.
like Electric Boogaloo coming out.
Exactly.
You know, you got, you know, the West Coast was featuring hip hop. What they don't understand is, like, yo, you should dress like Michael Jackson, and
Yeah.
that's not hip hop.
No.
It was a
Like,
different.
where are you getting your style from? You know what I
True,
mean?
yeah.
So there's a lot of differences between a West Coast aspect of what they're calling hip hop and what East
Yeah.
Coast actually is. New York City culture is hip hop culture.
Yeah.
That's what it is. West Coast,
I'm gonna see what the
the
price on.
sun, the shine, the difference
Yeah.
between New York City culture and hip hop is what? And West Coast is what? Hip hop, West Coast music is based on funk.
Yeah.
You'll always hear that. That shit don't exist in East Coast.
Yeah, I don't know.
East Coast is fast paced. We're taking trains, man. We're growing up
Yeah.
4 seasons a year. You know,
Yeah.
like we're struggling here. Like when we leave the neighborhood, it's an hour long
Yeah.
ride. In West Coast, when they leave the neighborhood, man, it's right down the block, man, on the corner.
Yeah.
So it's a
That's
different
it.
aspect. The way we dress, the way we think, the way we move.
Yeah.
You know, their lifestyle is very laid back. The East Coast
Yeah.
is opposite. It's
Yeah, yeah.
very fast forward. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, and then you
Yeah.
got all the palm trees. We ain't got no palm trees, man. We got buildings. That's what we have
Yeah.
concrete. We have brick. You know,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of differences when it comes to culture. But
Yeah. Because
that's
especially in New York as well, that's why they call it the city that never sleeps as well. It's just 100 mile an hour, isn't it?
100%. It's also called, you know, the Big Apple. It's also called the
Yeah.
melting pot. I mean, California is not up to par on the diversity of New York City.
Graffiti, are you gonna come out with a documentary on this? Because you know a lot about this stuff. Are you gonna do something? I know you were working on something, a book. Are you gonna do something like in video form? Like, are you gonna do something?
Well, for the book,
Yeah.
Graffiti Mouth explores the subculture of New York City
And start laughing.
graffiti
Yo, you're
writers
shot.
that
Look at
I
Joey
hung out with.
Milano, John.
What?
Joey Milano shot.
Right, what'd he say?
He's saying this with a dot.
Joe Milano, he's saying it's rusty. It was rusty.
too, man.
He's shot. He's shot.
Oh, dude.
Joey.
Oh,
Hey,
see,
Joe.
yo, guys, I can't laugh about this kind of
Hey,
stuff
Joe.
when I think about it.
No, you should come on the show one day.
Yeah, come on the show, Joey.
Okay, wait, look, what? You guys
Where's
dig
Eddie
on
G?
getting off like
Where's Eddie
that?
G, man? He
All
jump
right,
on.
look, there's a kid in this room right now.
Uh-huh.
His name's Joey A.
Mm-hmm.
Joey A put Bobby Dirt's hair on fire.
Yeah.
On
Joe,
fucking
Joey, you remember
fire
that?
in a park. On
Right.
fire.
What?
Look,
That's crazy.
You're laughing at this
Hey,
shit,
man.
yo. That's
I
the
was
crazy
laughing over
part. It's Yo, man, it's like, I mean, we spoke about it. I can't say he didn't mean to do it. I mean, like, I didn't do it. He did. So.
Hold up,
Yeah.
guys. Hold up. I got another.
I got to see that in part
wait,
of the
I
movie.
got another guest.
Yeah.
But
Who is it?
all in all,
Guest
look.
over here.
All in all,
Okay,
Bobby
Jim.
was a good kid. Bobby was good, Jim.
Yo, William Haynes.
What's going on?
What's up, fellas? How you doing?
What's up, man?
How's
What's going
everything?
on? How you doing, my man?
Peace,
Happy
brother.
4th of
How's
July
it?
weekend.
Hey, same to you. Hey, I appreciate the super chats.
Mike Tyson.
Wow. You got everybody
Happy
hanging
birthday
out
to your
over
daughter.
The good one. The good one.
there. Wait,
I start
where's
playing
the-
poker here in a little bit. My question is I was stationed at Fort Dix back in the late 80s over there in New Jersey.
Yeah, I think you can charge this one too.
Yeah, you're breaking up. What, William?
Yeah, this one you can charge too.
William,
Will, we got here for your question.
You got a USB-C included. Yes, in there. Yeah.
William froze up.
Gummy?
goes up.
Want that gummy?
He's lagging. It might be a
You
connection.
lost him, Jim.
Hey, I think I got him now. Hold on.
Really good.
I think I got him. No,
Yeah, we only heard a little brief question, bit of the question.
Put your phone number in and get your points, all right?
But Joe, on your for your question, Graffiti Mouth is about my exploitations amongst some graffiti culture, and you'll read some extra stories. Actually, in Graffiti Mouth, there's a story where I'm caught up in a club called the Cape, and I have to sit down with Graziano, and he starts questioning me. So you'll get to read more about that.
Hey, y'all.
Some kid, he was beefing.
Hey, you got to go to the Cannes Film Festival. You got to do something one day with this, man, like on independent level, independent films festival.
Well, I mean, just in case
Yeah.
anyone's curious, that if anyone's curious about what they think isn't going on, okay. Right now, I just developed a
All right, bro.
so far a 4-part development and treatment series.
Yeah.
That's done.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
you got to do. Because hey,
Very
no,
good, John.
I was just thinking in the movie Bath Avenue, they got to do a scene with Jimmy's throwing a dart at somebody's ass, like bam.
Well, that doesn't
What the hell going on, man?
That doesn't come up in this book, but
No.
we're
Are
compromising.
you doing a book on the Bath Avenue crew too? Are you doing a book too? Are you gonna help Jimmy with the movie? Because that would be a funny scene in the movie. Them guys throwing darts at people.
Joe, the book's almost done.
Look. Hold up. Let me talk to William Haynes quick.
All right, go ahead.
William Haynes, what's up, pal?
What's up, William?
Hey, can you guys hear me now? Hey, how you
Yo,
guys
William.
doing?
I hear you now. Yes.
Yeah.
Good. How about you?
Yeah, hey, listen, happy 4th of July weekend. I just got a quick question I wanted to ask you and your brother. In the late 80s, I was stationed on the East Coast there in New Jersey. And we used to go to New York City quite a bit. And I remember when they were having those problems with like racial tensions and shit back in Bensonhurst. I was just wondering, were you guys involved in any of that? Did you see a lot of that?
We weren't involved. No, I was not involved in any of that stuff. That was more on 20th Avenue, Howard Beach, spots like that. But,
well, you know what? Wait, Jim, wait. When Jimmy first went away, there was actually a riot on Bath Avenue. And what happened was, a lot of people tend to, when we read about stories of how there was racial riots in Brooklyn with the Italians and blacks, people don't want to. All right, now remember, I used to cut out of school a lot. We used to go to Manhattan. We used to get picked up. Now, when we got picked up by police officers in Manhattan, what they would do with us is take us to some fucked up schools and keep us there for the day. Take us to the worst school and just keep us there for the day. Now, there was quite a few times
Yeah,
There was quite a few times I was an active graph writer and a b-boy. I did not belong to these schools. In the middle of this class, I would be threatened. After school, yo, I want them sneakers. You know, my friend Richie Brandon used to walk around with a sheepskin. He'd always be threatened. Yo, let me get that sheepskin. And we would always have to run. Always. Getting chased through the streets of Manhattan, down the subways, catching the train, just feeling like, yo, man, we just got mad lucky. They could have stabbed us. And this is what was going on in New York. So no matter what you hear on Netflix and the media, where, it wasn't like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We do come from a neighborhood. Maybe if you were a different nationality, possibly something happened to you.
Yeah.
Possibly. If you got out of line, something definitely happened to you.
Oh yeah.
If you just came through, man, like turned your back, okay, you were good. But every so often,
But there was
someone from Marlboro or Coney would come strolling through looking for trouble.
Yeah, sometimes you would.
And they got it.
And they got
Now,
it.
what happened on Bath Avenue was Al Sharpton showed up and he protested.
Yeah.
When he showed up on Bath Avenue with his protest, the people of Bath Avenue were a little confused. They said, why here? We didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Then they heard about the story. A black kid was jumped.
Didn't he get stabbed or something?
On Bath Avenue, possibly.
No, he got who? Oh,
No, we're not talking about.
Al Sharpton got stabbed. Al Sharpton got stabbed on 20th Avenue.
Yeah, no, Al Sharpton got stabbed.
Yeah, did he get jumped, Jimmy? Yeah.
But what happened on Bath
20th Avenue? Yeah, he got jumped.
What happened on Bath was the people of Bath Avenue came out of their houses with all of the articles of white people being stabbed and jumped through time.
Yeah.
So that was their retaliation for the blacks. So basically it wasn't like, this and that, we'll kill you, this and that. When they came marching through, the people of Bath Avenue were fully prepared.
Hey guys, look. But look, guys. Bella Napoli, Back Cape. Al Sharpton also cooperated on the Genovese case.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah,
you
go
go.
figure, huh?
Yeah.
And all of that is true. Then eventually, the thing happened with Yusuf Hawkins where he marched through the New Trip. Then he wanted to do it again. That second time, he received a phone call. If you show up, you're getting stabbed. He said, fuck you. I'm showing up regardless. As soon as he showed up, he was stabbed. He never showed up ever again.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Hey, thanks for letting me on. I appreciate it, though. You guys have a good weekend, okay? And
You too.
appreciate. I got a lot of things I gotta do.
Hey,
So
William.
you guys, you come to Chicago, you stop by my bar anytime, you guys, okay?
Hey, William, happy birthday to your daughter.
Thank you. Matter of fact, she's here right now yelling, Dad, let's go.
Give a shout out at your bar.
Have a good one. Happy birthday.
Hey, what's your
Happy
bar
Fourth.
name? What's your bar in Chicago? We know go there. What's your
My
bar?
name is Bill's Place,
Bill's
111th and Washington.
We go there, we can smoke a cigar and get a Modelo.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want in there, except kill people.
Right.
So
Hey, I got season tickets for the White Sox. You guys come to town, I'll take you a couple baseball games.
Just don't trespass.
Thank you.
Don't trespass me. I ain't trying to get a trespass.
Yeah.
Trespassing charge.
But
Hey, guys, take
Take
care.
Don ain't gonna get me out.
Take care, William.
So I just want to make it clear that no matter what people think, regardless of Bath Beach had racism in it, oh no. Let me tell you something, because look, by me becoming a B-boy was a reflection of not just me leaving the neighborhood and picking up on it, but it came from the neighborhood itself.
The culture, the whole hip hop culture brought a lot of
a lot
of races together.
Joe, let me talk for a minute.
Yeah.
It was derived from a crew called the Romantic Rockers. Now, the Romantic Rockers had white people in it, but the Romantic Rockers also had Puerto Ricans and blacks. And that's how all of this functioned in the streets of Bensonhurst. So don't be fooled by media telling you this and that and this
John,
and all that bullshit.
John, Joey Milano's still talking about Bobby Dirt.
Oh,
Now look what he's talking about now.
I've
talking about. Look, I like to know. Look, I like to know. Put Bobby to sleep on the chokehold, and then
Joe,
slam
why'd
on his
you do
face.
that, Joe? Why'd you have to say? Wow.
Who did that one? Who did that one?
Hey, John. You said just.
He knows I did that. That's why he brought it up.
So, John, you're saying basically the hip hop culture brought a lot of people together more than they did. Even though the media was trying to say a lot of stuff, but the hip hop culture brought a lot of people together, man. A lot of different ethnicities.
Joe, you got to remember now. At the same time,
Yeah, definitely.
the exploitation also destroyed hip hop. So it made it a passing fad for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens later? 88. Lou, what happens in New York City? Does anyone know what happens? Because hip hop eventually fades out. Where's all the breaking?
Right.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Oh yeah, I mean, it started
Wait. Now you got the zero tolerance law from Ed Koch.
Well, you gotta remember. Don't you remember the hip hop? It went through an educational process. Remember, the African culture process came through. Remember, Money in the Middle. Everyone started getting into it.
Joe.
KRS-One.
We're doing more than that right now. We're doing much more than Money. Listen,
Right, but nowadays.
So now what happens is. Because everyone thinks hip hop is based in the Bronx. That's fake.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the term hip hop is fake. It's a business. It's a business. Why do you think they call rap hip hop and not rap?
Yeah.
The business.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Rap is rap.
Yeah.
Hip hop's supposed to be different from rap. Hip hop was the way out. How come there's so many gangbangers that are getting killed in the rap game? It goes to show you where hip hop is. Wait. We got the pioneers. They're producing the vaccine. What does that tell you about hip hop? What does that tell you? It's bullshit. That's what hip hop is. Wait. Before Grandmaster Flash, before Herc started juggling records, go look it up. There's a guy by the name of Walt Gibbons. He's blending records before them. But only with disco music, not with funk, not with breaks. It's a fad. Hip hop is all a charade, man. And all the people who backed it up are the people who actually made it something. People like us who listen to the radio, who buy the fucking records. See all the pioneers, African Mbata touching little kids when he's a little, you know what I'm saying? This is what real hip hop is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not to get over gangster. Let me tell you something. Look, there was a documentary called Rubble Kings. Right? You want to see the authentic documentary? It's called 80 Blocks from Tiffany's. Rumble King's producer got an idea from watching this documentary, and he said, let's build something on our reputation with it. So he basically took 80 Blocks from Tiffany's, and he said, and that's what created hip hop. Does anyone know the epitome? What year was it of gang culture in Manhattan?
In Manhattan.
The epitome of gang culture in Manhattan.
So 79, John?
75.
75.
75. Now, does anyone have any clue why the gangs broke apart?
You tell.
Because of the music. Like this.
Because half of the gang members sent to Vietnam.
Oh yeah, I see.
In the service, or they were, they were initiated by the government, and they got into that. Now, during that process, during that process, 75.
Throw that up there again, Jimmy.
Now, what happened during that process was a slew of gang members started moving around. They couldn't stay in the Bronx anymore. The Bronx was a dump.
Yeah, but in Vietnam,
There was no jobs there. There was no place to live
Yeah.
anymore. The buildings were falling apart. A lot of these
Yeah.
gang members spread throughout the city.
Yeah.
And slowly but shortly, they embedded a certain mentality. And that's how hip hop came along. So you hear
Yeah.
stories about the South Bronx throwing parties in the parks. You know,
Yeah.
first started there. Brooklyn, there were parties in the parks at the same time. Lower East Side were having parties in the park. This was all happening at the same exact time. But only
Yeah.
the South Bronx feels obliged to think we started all of that. No, you didn't. No, you didn't, man. You didn't start record juggling. That's got to stop. South Bronx did not start graffiti. That's got to stop. DJing, let's go over to DJing. Yo, everything that we're finding out about hip hop culture is nothing but bullshit. That's what it is.
That's why we need your.
But the subcultures are, authentic and strong the way that they are, and we need to just bring back subcultures as the art forms that they were created to be.
But you know, there's a lot of that subculture going on, because I had a lot of friends that was in the hip hop that they didn't like to go mainstream. They wanted to stay in the subculture. They didn't want to go no mainstream at all, because it was not true. They always said,
why would you? Why would you want to do that?
Well, you got a lot of them doing it now. You got a lot of them doing it now, actually.
And Joe, it's funny you brought up Run DMC. DMC is actually one of the guys pushing the vaccine the most. You should get in touch with him, man, and ask him how much.
We got to get in touch with Russell.
How much you getting?
Who is it, Russell? Who is it, Russell? Or is it
DMC, Daryl.
Because you got Russell, and you got his other, but
Russell pushes the vaccine.
Right,
too.
Russell's the big one.
They all push the vaccine. All of these hip hop pioneers.
Russell Simmons.
Here's 10,000. They go, yo.
Well, during the mainstream. That's why, bro. Well, you got to come out with your stuff, man. Graffiti, because you have a lot of passion.
All of these people are sellouts because
you got to come out with it.
They're defeating what the purpose of hip hop culture was actually supposed to be about.
When you start
bettering yourself from learning something that's artful, keeping you out of fucking shit and the trouble that it came from. But all they did was just regurgitate it, and now it's back to all that bullshit.
Yeah, but when you Graffiti, when you get your stuff out, your stuff you're working on, where because I think you could even do a channel like that. You know what I mean? To bring in talk to artists and different things where they're coming from. Because you have a lot of passion.
The truth is, Joe, I want to do a channel. Yo, I'm being honest. What I do with writing, it's hard, man. I mean, my writing's on point.
You have a lot of
passion. When you read my books, I edited them.
You got a lot of passion. Listen, I got a friend, and he just got done doing a book with his friend, another friend of mine. They're talking about it's going to come out soon. The Appalachian Devil, I think it is. But he retired from Sony. The other friend, I met them both in Inner Circle. The other guy has been doing a lot of religious type books. They just wrote a book together, collaborated. When they come out, they're gonna let me know. Because it's like I'm thinking about starting a channel too, and I might do like a book channel. Well, basically, I just review books. That's all I want to do. I ain't no mafia thing, nothing like that. But like, say I'm reading this book here. Reading this book here, right? They're getting ready to make it into a TV series, right? Knave over Queen. It's from the makers, the author of the Game of Thrones. Now, I'll read different books, and I'll come out there and tell people what to read. But I'm also like interview authors, and I'll interview the authors of the certain books. I already got them, so they're gonna come on my show, and then I'll probably have Mike Francisi come on because I'm gonna talk about some of his books. But
Joe, can I ask you something?
Who's
your favorite writer?
My favorite one, I got a few of them. Like Like James Patterson is one of my favorite authors. James Stowell. He's a blind author. He wrote a lot of things into it in the books. I got a lot of authors I like. There's a lot of different. When I was locked up, I read a book by Daniel Steele, and it was called. It was about 4. I was locked up. I read a lot of books. Okay. I read book after book after book, not only the Bible, but there was a lot of authors I went and found. You know what I mean? Even wrote this one book called The Praying Husband. There's one girl, she's been through a lot, and her husband, she wrote one for the praying father, the praying wife, and the praying husband. Really good book for a man to read if you're gonna get married or whatever. I read a lot of books locked up. That's what I did most of the time. I didn't eat. I used to tell the guys, we don't live on bread alone. So I'm not gonna eat. I don't care about. They're gonna give me what I'm gonna give my food, but I'm gonna read a book when I get hungry.
Joe,
So
wait up. All right.
And I read a lot of authors. This author I'm starting to read.
Lou.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know
Okay,
your
John.
favorite writers.
One of my favorite writers. Probably I love some, not all, but some of Mario Puzo, and yeah, because he's not only known for he's not only known for like the mafia stuff.
I know.
He's wrote loads of others.
No, he's a brother. He's from Brooklyn. I know everything about this man.
Yeah.
I like reading books motivational. I like doing motivational. I like reading like stories, but I like a collective of books. Even authors. I'm getting ready to read a book. The 12 days following the assassination of Lincoln, and it's going to follow the 12 days. Everything that occurred after the 12 days when Lincoln got shot. And I got another book I'm gonna be reading later on. It's gonna be about the cloning, trying to clone the mammoth. They're trying to get the DNA out of the mammoth to this day. They're trying to see if they can bring it back. So it's gonna be
John,
all kind of stories I'm reading, man. I gotta collect.
But Jimmy, John, I was gonna say, just going back to John's point earlier about the 75, the subculture of hip hop, and remember the film. One of my favorite films when I was a kid was Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors.
Remember that, Jimmy?
We were talking about Warriors earlier, me and Jimmy, that we grew up and going to Coney Island, and it wasn't a set. Yeah. That's how it really looked, Lou.
Look,
yeah.
Right, that's where it was, the Warriors.
Look, what was a great movie? I don't know if a lot of you guys didn't see it. Was The Wanderers. You ever see The Wanderers?
Oh, The Wanderers, yeah.
Wanderers is my second favorite movie.
Yeah, I've seen that, Jimmy, yeah.
The Wanderers is good.
I like The Outsiders. The Outsiders, I like The
Outsiders. Well, listen. I mean, like, look, I can get really deep.
Okay, look, I get deep with you, man. Because look, I'll tell you, if I start this channel, I'm going to do the book. I'm going to give it a chapter. I'm going to review the book. Tell you what the book is. I think of the book. Then I'm gonna do a wine with it. What wine I paired with the book, or like if I drank a Modelo or whatever I drank when I read that book. And then I'm gonna talk a little about that. Most of the time I'll probably be drinking Michael France's wine. I love it. And then at the same time, I want authors like you to come on. I'm
my favorite writer of all time.
My
favorite writer of all time is Edward Bunker.
Who? Say it again.
Oh yeah, John.
Eddie Bunker.
Say it again.
Eddie Bunker.
Eddie Bunker?
Eddie Bunker.
Bunker. Okay, I gotta get one of his books. I'm gonna read it.
Never even heard of Eddie Bunker, huh?
I might have heard of him. What book he wrote?
Oh, you're gonna learn a lot about him.
Tell me what book he wrote.
He's also
Eddie. All right, Doggy
Don't be looking at me like that. Don't give me that
Doggy
New York,
Dog.
What you talking about there?
I just mentioned one. Dog Eat Dog.
Okay, Dog Eat Dog. So I'm gonna get that book and read it.
Joe Dubs.
Did they make any into movies?
Joe Dubs. He played Mr. Blue in the Reservoir Dogs.
Okay, so I'm gonna get that book.
Oh yeah.
That's what I mean. So you come.
Wait, did you ever see a movie called Runaway Train?
Yeah, I see that movie.
Do you remember Jonah?
Wasn't that with Denzel Washington? Was that with Denzel Washington? I'm trying to remember who that was.
Denzel Washington wasn't even known at this point.
What was the one with Denzel Washington was in?
Denzel Washington was 10 years old.
He was in a train one too.
Yeah, no, nothing like this.
Okay, so this was the one. It's the older one. It's the older movie.
No, there's only Runaway. There's only one Runaway Train. You're talking about. You might be talking about like Pelham 1, 2, 3 or something.
Yeah.
The taking of Pelham. No, Eddie Bunker is the youngest person to be incarcerated in San Quentin prison.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So now, did you ever hear of Danny Trejo?
Yeah, Danny Trio.
Okay.
My
Now
friend
look,
is friends with
now
Danny.
look.
Ricky, my friend Ricky is good friends with him.
There'd be no
And
such
Danny-
thing as Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
There wasn't no Eddie Bunker.
Oh, really? Can we
Eddie
tell you
Bunker became the most brilliant writer out of prison.
Wow, I'm gonna follow him. And you know, Danny Trejo saved Edward almost his life because the Mexican mafia at the time was gonna kill him because of that movie he made, you know, American Me.
Yeah.
Danny saved his life.
That's right. I heard about that.
Well, that's another subject. But one of my other favorite writers is Lorenzo Carpintero.
Say it again. Lorenzo
Carpintero.
Okay, so I like that. I'm gonna get that. So when I'm gonna do my channel, it's gonna be about books. I'm gonna read them, chapter, and then.
Well, if you want to watch anything by Eddie Bunker, you want to watch something, watch Animal House or Runaway Train.
Oh God, Animal House.
Oh yeah,
now,
Animal House is fantastic.
If you want to watch anything from Lorenzo Carpintero, watch Sleepers.
Who?
Sleepers.
Sleepers,
yeah.
I heard that one.
Sleepers with De Niro and Brad Pitt. Great movie.
It's a great movie. That.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
And then of course my favorite songwriter, and he's not even my favorite, he actually is the greatest songwriter of all time, would be Stephen Patrick Morrissey, of course.
Who?
Stephen Patrick Morrissey.
Oh yeah.
What did he write? Morrissey?
I like when Graffiti look at me like, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Morrissey wrote 50 hits, bro.
What?
Morrissey wrote 50 hits.
Okay, tell me. Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that in New York like you don't know what you're talking about.
Go listen to the Smiths and everything by Morrissey. You'll get to know who
I'm going to find it out. Name them. I like it. Graffiti, he's like, man, I like he get that look. Somebody else is like, but you don't know. You better go find it.
Irish Blood, English Hard, Last of the Gang, There Is a Light That Will Never Go Out, Russian Ruffians. Oh my God, dude.
Okay, so I'm going to get some of
those. You definitely asked a weird question.
Listen, because I was in the bookstore and I was reading the chapter.
Sing Me to Sleep, Back of the Disco Dance.
Hey, John.
Graffiti. I was Lewis, Graffiti and Lewis.
Yeah.
I was in a bookstore. I was reading just a little bit on my Instagram. And the lady came up to me. Oh, you need to start a channel like reading books. She said, oh, I like your voice. And I said, really? I said, read books. She said, yeah. Do a channel on books. I said, everyone asked me to do a channel. And I don't know what channel I was going to do it. Jimmy always asking me. I said, maybe I'll do it just because I love books. I'm going to do a review on books, read a little bit of the interface or whatever it's about. And then, talk about some wine and stuff I like. And just do something like that. Just something I love. Ain't no negative. Ain't gonna be no negative. None of that. When I go to another subject.
Let me tell you something. Let me just say something.
Favorite food.
Hold up. Let me say something quick because they talk about the shot.
Yeah.
Look, if I would have took that shot, in all honesty, if I would have took that shot, I probably would have died with that shot.
100%.
Why would you
die? That shot. I ducked that shot.
Yeah, I had to take it with the time we were
I never.
Joe, you said you had to take it?
Yeah, they said they wanted, we have to take a shot. You know what I mean? We want to take a shot. You're going to have to keep your mask on the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Can you imagine waking up and someone saying, hey,
I'm done, man.
You have to die.
Well,
you
ain't gonna, no, I don't agree with that. No one should have to do anything. That's why I never agree with that. But at the same time, what's behind, let me ask you a question. What's behind it? What's behind it, Graffiti? What's behind all that?
Depopulation, eugenics.
Eugenics,
Really? I mean, what's behind Bill Gates, a computer wizard, buying all crops and burning them down? What's behind that? You tell me. What's behind it?
Hey, there's a lot of things.
Making more money.
They were predicting. Hey, you guys see that thing that went down, that Titan that went down, right?
Making more money, but Lou, he's burning food, so we can't eat it. So it doesn't have to do with making money. It's about depopulation.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. That Titan went down, right? The owner, the owner of that company, the Titan went down, right?
Yeah.
And a guy wrote a book called The Titan, 14 years before the Titanic sunk. It was about a boat.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
that's
about
right.
A ship that hit a iceberg. They thought that he was some type of psychic or some type of, like some type of foreteller of future. But he was. He said, I just wrote a book. That's something that was in my head. Now, the guy who made the Titan named it after that book. Now,
Yeah.
he went down. He had 2 survivors that were from the Titans and his family. But did you know he was in the secret society?
Yes,
that
I
only,
did.
He was
I
with
did.
Bush and them in the secret society.
Yes,
that Bush
I
was
do.
in and Clinton, and they go into the woods and they sit into the woods.
Yeah. That's right, Joe.
You really have to have a lot of money to be in that society, but they think that maybe
and
the guy
Joe.
who they interviewed thought
And
that maybe
Joe,
he always had felt like he wasn't good enough. So this
People
was his way
people
of making
don't
something
know
big.
they wanted to take down the Titanic just because of that guy was on it. That's it.
Yeah, so this guy that was on the Titanic, the guy, them people was on the Titanic. Now this guy, he went down with that sub and it imploded, right? He didn't even do some of the tests, even though people told him he was using that. He knew that there was problems with that thing, but he started getting a money problem. So he started trying to get the money because he was selling the tickets real cheap, $250,000 for actually cheap to go down that far. Because you know that it's harder to go down in the sea than it is in space because of the pressure.
Yeah.
And there's stuff explored in the sea that we don't even know yet because they can't even explore the sea like they can in space. You can go in space more than you can go in the sea. And that guy was in a secret society. That one guy said it well. He said, I think he never felt adequate. Like he never felt he was good enough. Like some of his family had a lot of wealth. And he might even have a money problem. So he took some shortcuts and wanted to make a name for himself. Went down in that thing and it exploded. No one will probably ever, they said, go down that far again. And that will probably never happen again. But he said something funny. He said, how are they looking for this guy? When that went down and exploded, that's like a bomb going off. There's no way that the people on the boat didn't hear that and see that. He said when he's down on the sea, 3,000 miles under the sea, he can hear everything above him. Even he can hear something go by him because sound is down there, right? That's why he said a whale can communicate 1,000 miles away from each other. Whales can communicate that far across the phone. How can he not hear it? They
Joe, that story alone is kind of like really weird. Because
weird.
Joe, look. Nobody ever gone down that far. Go watch James Cameron. Go visit.
No, he went down. James
on
Cameron.
video, bro.
But check this out.
No one died.
No, but let me check. That's why he said. That's why the guy said he didn't use carbon fiber. And matter of fact, the carbon fiber they're supposed to use when they use it on that stuff, it's supposed to be in a pressure chamber when they put it on. They're not supposed to put it on wet because epoxy creates heat points and pockets of air. He told this guy that. This guy who's real smart, he got his own sub company in Bahamas. And he said, he told this guy, when he tried to explain to this guy, look, you got problems in that thing because when they went down, you could hear like gunshots going off.
What I'm finding out is that the Navy knew it,
right.
They didn't do nothing about it.
No, he told the guy.
That's what I'm finding out.
And he told the guy this, and then he told the guy, he explained to him that you got to do a lot of travels before you can even take passengers down. He only goes down so far. But he says James Cameron was smart because his whole project, because he used it for the movie and he was using some video, he was doing stuff for Avatar and some other stuff. He had all that money, gave it back to him. That way he had no reason for cost. He could do all the tests he wanted. He had no reason for money. But this guy, he didn't have the money to do all that. So he was trying to take shortcuts because he didn't want to tell his customers all the shortcuts he was taking. Because he said, I can guarantee you when it comes out, he had financial problems and he didn't even do some of the tests he should have done. So like Cameron went down so far, but this guy, they had 1,000,000 pounds of pressure on them. Okay. And that's when it imploded. But he said they were searching for these people. He said, what search? It was a sham. He said they had that echo came up out of that water.
I don't know.
Knew where he was.
I don't know what to believe. I know right now I could drop a full Coca-Cola can in a secluded, isolated 10,000 pound tank full of water. The fucking can is going to the bottom of the tank and nothing's happening.
That's what you see what's happening now. Now look at this though. Now look at this though. I just watched this one show and this guy was talking about Mr. Baller. He used to be a Navy SEAL. Now he got his TV, he does strange stories. Mal, he just did a story about these guys went down in this air chamber where when they set this, and when you take a bucket and pour it in water, if you push it down in the water, you're gonna have air. You can stick your hand up in the middle and there'll be air in there. So they take this big pipe, they put this big bucket, so to speak, on top of it. So these guys, if they ever need to go there and repair it, they can go underneath, scuba dive up. And when they get in there, they can take off the scuba dive and repair it. Well, they were doing that. They had to go back and repair it, take out these big things, like these big cushions they put in there to hold the pressure in there. They had to inflate them like these big balloons. So they had to go in there and start deflating them. So they couldn't get it open. So the guy had to go get a wrench, came back up, gave the guy the wrench. He went to loosen up the nut so they can deflate it. Soon as they did that, they got sucked in that pipe. They went all into that pipe, everything in that room. They all went into that pipe and they started traveling down and finally hit an area where there was an air pocket. They all stayed in the air pocket. Finally, these guys said, look, we can try to get back. We're going to try to get back and hopefully get you some help. One guy managed to, as they inched their way up this pipe, one of those guys started losing it. So he stayed put where he was. And then one guy, Christopher, got out the pipe.
Well, your air is limited.
Rescued, but guess what? They rescued him. When the Coast Guard was out there and everything, they decided not to go. Even though those guys were pounding on the pipe, who were alive. He said, look, my friends are alive. Just get them out of there. We can get them, go in that pipe and give them the stuff they need, oxygen tanks, and get them out of there. And he would go do it. They decided to not rescue them. Those other guys died, and they ended up going quiet. They just let them die in the pipe. And it's on YouTube. They could have got rescued him. His friend, he tried to jump in the water. Said, "I'm gonna go rescue my friends. Forget it. I'll go do it. I'll go back in the pipe." He said, "They're living. I just left them. They're banging on the pipes. They're screaming." They said, "No, we're not gonna do it." Now you can go to Mr. Baller's channel if you ever want to and see that story he posted. And you will be that saddest thing is that he came out and the Coast Guard, they could at least sawed off the pipe, got those guys out, but they decided, let's let them die in the pipe because we don't want to risk no one's life. And he said, "I'll go in the pipe and get them out. I know where they are."
I want to change the subject.
That's messed up.
What does everyone think about the crime that they're seeing these days compared to the crime of yesteryear?
Yeah. Say that again.
What do you think of the crimes being committed now compared to yesterday?
From back to the days? Oh, there's some crazy stuff happening nowadays. People losing their mind. You know, doing all this crazy stuff now. They're doing crazy stuff nowadays. Like people losing their mind.
I think there's more mental health problems nowadays that aren't being dealt with, by proper physicians, proper medical field, and people are just losing their shit.
Like doctors they're not even culpable anymore.
Yo, John, look at that comment. John, look at that comment.
Like that, right? John look like that. What? You know what? But there was some crazy crimes back then.
Hey, John.
This is gas pipe. Look, this is gas pipe. Look.
Gas
pipe.
Yeah, that's it right there.
But hey, John, I was going to say,
gas pipe. He's easy to do.
Yeah.
But hey, John, I was going to ask you.
No, I wanted to bring this up real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
For instance, we see people getting jumped on New York City subways.
Yeah.
And then when someone jumps in, and now he's going to court looking at 15 years because now he jumped in. So now, that throws fear into people. I don't want to jump in. I don't want to help anybody. I might go to jail.
Yeah.
Now wait, a lot of people are saying New York is the worst it's ever been. The worst.
Yeah.
Right. You know in 93 and 94, you know how many murders took place in New York City?
How many, John?
2,400 a year.
2,400?
You know how many murders are taking place right now?
If I have to guess, is it double?
730. Nope. 700, 730. So how is it worse?
That's the media. That's the media making it work.
Yeah, true. So the media, like the propaganda.
Come on, people. What's going
Yeah.
on? Well, you
Bullshit,
also know what
innit?
the difference is.
Yeah.
Back then, they were pursuing criminals.
Huh? What you mean?
See, now with new liberal laws, it matters. So
Yeah.
if you go to court, you didn't grow up with a father. We can't. We gotta feel sorry for him. No,
Yeah.
you deserve $500,000 bill. They're letting you out free. No,
Yeah.
you gotta feel sorry
Well,
for him. You grew up this
when I
way.
need
What do you think about? What do you think about what liberalism has done
Yeah.
to society?
Yeah. And look, I
Because
was
let me
in New
tell you
York.
something, Lou.
I
You
went
were just
everywhere in
talking
New York.
about the doctors.
Yeah. I was in
Right?
New
Yeah.
York. I went
If a
everywhere.
doctor
I had a
can
great
tell,
time.
wait, Joe, if a doctor can tell a man, you are a girl because you say so, what's wrong with that doctor?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
the whole kind of culture right now. That's the kind of culture.
Whose
But
fault
Crazy,
is
man.
culture, whatever
Wait,
they
whose fault? Who is literally empowering that subculture to think they are something they really aren't?
That's
I know.
the psychiatric doctors are doing that.
The professionals
It's-
are doing, yeah.
That's the first
Well-
one telling them that.
Well, you know that. Like when we were talking about books. Have you heard of George Orwell?
Yeah.
And he wrote a book called 1984.
Oh my God. I have
And
it right here.
a lot of what he's wrote in that book, which was I think he wrote it in about the early 50s, is happening now.
Right?
100%.
I heard about that.
Man, if you don't know about Big Brother, man, I don't even know what to tell you anymore.
Right.
Really. I mean,
Yeah.
George Orwell was telling us about Big Brother in the 50s when he saw it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he even wrote the kid book, Animal Farm. It's a great book, man.
Yeah.
The way he
True.
perceived like the differences and how they're looked at by the farmers and what they go through personally. What a great, oh my God, what an unbelievable book.
He must have had like an amazing mind, mustn't he, John? Just to,
genius, man, genius.
Yeah.
I mean, like if Tesla was a writer, he'd be all right.
Well, yeah.
He's
definitely, yeah,
John.
Nicola.
All right, so John, guys, listen, I'm gonna go. Okay.
All right,
All right, Jimmy.
Go have a good night, man.
I enjoyed all your company. Thank you all for coming by. I appreciate it. Happy 4th to you and all your families.
Yeah. Happy 4th of July to all my Americans.
Yes.
Happy 4th to everyone. God bless all of you, man. Pray for each other. Stay strong with each other. Jimmy, I love you, and I hope to see you soon, bro.
I love you too. I hope to see you soon.
I'm gonna come out to New York sooner or later, man. Catch up with y'all.
I'm coming down. I'm coming down to Ohio soon.
Hey, I was just with Michael.
Hey,
we had a great time out here.
No, I'm going down to Ohio soon. My friend just opened up a gym.
Oh, good, man. So you're gonna finally work out.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I was with Michael. He wants us to get together in Miami, Jimmy. He told me to tell you, he wanted me to tell you, because, he sees a lot of things good in you, man. He knows that, a lot of good things coming in your life. But he said, look, let's get together with Jimmy. So you, Jimmy, will go out, hang out in Miami. Mike Tyson gonna be there. So we, he simply brought you up, man, to me and say, look, how's Jimmy doing? And he wanted me to tell you that. He said, we gotta get together, you, me, and Jimmy in Miami.
Okay? I love Michael. Michael's great.
Yeah, Jimmy. I caught one of his podcasts with Chaz, and Chaz Palminteri.
Yeah.
And he mentioned you on it then, because they were talking about like some of the stuff that happened around the youth when you were a youth, and similar to what's going on now and stuff. And so yeah, Michael mentioned you.
Did you see Jimmy's show with Chaz?
Yeah, Jimmy.
I seen it. Yeah, it was great, wasn't it, Jim?
Yeah, it was. I liked it. Talking about Chaz, I get the highest respect for Chaz, Sandy Blue Eyes, Michael. I love those guys. I really do. What I see in those guys, the company that I was in them, I don't see in people no more. I'm saying these are
No.
people that want to help other people.
And I'm look, Lou.
Yeah.
Hold
Lou.
up, whoa, one at a
Go
time,
ahead,
John.
go
One
ahead.
at a time. Get used to YouTube. Look, hey, when I see people that are different, these people have changed my perception of thinking. Saying how, because it's hard to find good people that really want to give you
Lift you up.
and help you and lift you up. You know what I mean? And these three people, Michael, Chaz, and what's his
Sandy.
name? Sandy Blue Eyes. I tell you, look, really, really great people. They really are great people.
And the Wise and the Wise guy, if y'all haven't seen it, check it out, because Michael and Chaz, it's a really great podcast, man. They break things down. Let me just say something, because I love, I met with Jimmy on here, and Michael said it on his show. Someone asked him a question about Jimmy and the Bath Ave. Hey, look, it was a real crew, no doubt about it. It's the real deal. Jimmy and his crew, real deal. They were around made guys. Some of them got made. The real deal. So it's a part of mafia history and everything. But the thing is, we don't subscribe to the negativity, talking about other people, pointing fingers at other people. This is a real, true podcast. Not about pointing the finger at anybody, talking about other people.
I quote some of it.
About Jimmy, talking about his life, Bath Ave,
great, bro.
and his life about what he experienced. And this is what we're about. We're not about the negativity, all that garbage. Because I even talk about a little touch on it with Michael, and he's not about it either. That when you have to make your living, talk about other people, then you need to make a different living, because that's not the way to go. Talking about other people, point fingers, and don't talk about who's better, who's not. That ain't got no place in this. And the thing is, that's why people have to stay their positive and really talk about things that really have substance. If you want to sit and make your life, and because you can make money on and all that off negativity, and you have a small group that you want to do with it, go do it. But you only see a lot about you and your character. Because this is not what Jimmy show's about. It's not what Michael show's about. And that's why when I introduced Michael to Jimmy know that's the truth. I talked to Michael about it because I want him to have a positive person like that in his life that can motivate him. And he even talked about how Jimmy met with Chad and everything, his friend. So I know what I did when I first came on here, and I don't care what anyone say, I always kept it real. But I told Jimmy, and Jimmy knows, I said, you're going to one day talk to Michael and be in Michael's presence. And when I told you, did it happen? Yes. And me and Jimmy was on a Zoom call, and he put us both on at the same time because he knows how we are. Now, the thing is, when I say this podcast here brought people together. We talk about different things, but it's going to stay that way. It's going to be positive. We're not getting into subscribing to the negative. If y'all want to make your channel talk about this one and that one, do it, because you're only showing who you are. At the end of the day, you may get a little money from it, but people are going to say they sold for a little bit of money. It don't matter. But we ain't doing that on this one. And Jimmy came out here, and he got a good podcast. He talks about things in his life that he actually experienced, different people he's been around. And his one day, hopefully, will be a movie, a book, and about his life. But if Jimmy has helped a lot of other people talking about his life, you can point your fingers at Jimmy and say what you want, but you didn't live that life. You were nowhere near that life. You can say what you want to say, but you cannot say anything. You could call whatever name you want, to Michael, to Sammy, to Jimmy. But you only show them what you are. Because your life, you can even speak on your life, because no one would even watch it for 2 minutes. So all I gotta say is that, so your haters can hate, but guess what? We're gonna celebrate. You understand?
Yeah.
Good job, Joe.
Well said, Joe.
What I was just gonna say about Chaz,
sponsored by Modelo,
is, I grew up loving theater, and I studied a lot of acting in a lot of different theaters. When I saw Chaz act live, what came to my mind was, the best thing that we could actually do in life is to be the example that we always wanted, we always needed. So I don't care what you do. You could be cutting cold cuts and making sandwiches. Show people you're the best at that.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's what really becomes a great influence. And when you see Chaz doing that live, that's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what I love. It's like, do what you do best, man. That's the greatest inspiration that you can be for people. Anyway, for me, that's what I felt.
What did he say? The saddest part in life is seeing wasted talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
You don't want to go to the grave with your dreams, talents going to the grave with you.
Well, you know, it happens. So.
But
want to do it.
But Jimmy, I was just going to say,
I love you,
Jimmy, Joseph, and John. I was just going to say, I love you. You're great people. Good company, man.
Appreciate that. I got mad love for you, bro. Definitely.
Hey, love you too, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Peace,
And
much love, respect,
much love,
support, Lou, you, and Jimmy, you too, man.
I was going to say, and when I do get stateside, I'll be taking Jimmy and John and Joe out for a bite of pizza on me.
We got it.
New York pizza.
Yeah, that's the best. And I
Lou,
want
I'll do one better.
Lou,
I'll do one better. I'll make you pizza, bro.
Yeah,
Right
do
in front
that.
of
Oh
you.
yeah.
Yeah, do that.
I'll hold you to that, John.
Well, John left.
John left. He went to go make a pizza.
No, his device got.
All right.
His device is not connected. Okay. All right. Well, listen, guys. I'll see you guys soon. I love you all.
Wow.
Thank you all for the super chats. I appreciate it so much. You guys send me so much love. Show me so much love. Listen, keep God in your life. Keep on doing the right thing. Help other people. And you know what? Work on yourself.
God bless, Jimmy. God bless. I'll speak to you soon, brother.
I love you guys.
Thank all y'all for showing up.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
This is what comes to many people's minds when they think of Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Organized crime figures being gunned down in the streets. That's what happened to Carmine Variali and Frank Santora last Thursday on Bath Avenue in Bensonhurst. Saturday night, another hit about 20 blocks away. Some other recent mob executions in Bensonhurst were Frank DeChico, blown up in his car last year. 2 more men shot a few months after that. Sal Scarfer's life ended execution style this January. So if you watch the news, you might get the idea that Bensonhurst is a place where mobsters come to get killed.
The streets will never love you back.
Time if you lived to be 19, 21 years old, you're lucky. My neighborhood is very dangerous.